start to pile in. All right, let's see. All right, welcome everybody to another episode of GVN Review. As promised, we are doing our spoiler review of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Like I said, this is our spoiler review. A whole bunch more people start to be piling in very soon, but so far we got Mike and Trevon. What's going on, Trevon?
Hey, welcome. Glad to be here. Can't wait to talk about this. Just greatest movie of, I would say, all time. I really enjoyed this goddamn movie. So I can't wait to talk about it.
Yeah. All time. Dang.
Oh, I enjoyed the hell out of this. So yes.
I respect it.
Got a lot what I wanted and then some. Had so much fun.
Awesome. All right. That was said. Next up, Mike. What's going on, Mike?
It's going good. You know, I'm just really surprised we got WandaVision 1.5, with this movie.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So look, we got a lot to get into when it comes to this movie. That's why I wanted to do 8, not 8:30. Give us time, but also not go super late. Look, this movie was.
Go ahead, say it, Juwaan.
I don't know how you
feel about it.
I don't know how to say it. I was really fucking bored in this movie, man. I just was. I went to a screening where it wasn't a lot of people, so I could focus. Didn't have the outside noise. Didn't have the screaming and the babies crying and whatnot. And I'm watching this movie and I'm just going, what the fuck was Scott Derrickson gonna do? Like, what was Scott Derrickson's idea that was just shot down, that led to him stepping down? This was just like, I don't even know how to quantify it. Like, it wasn't a bad movie. Again, I've seen bad movies. It was just boring. Like, I don't know. The script was just so one-dimensional.
That's right. I feel like
it was boring.
It was fucking
I'm sorry.
He wanted his comic stuff. He wanted his comic
I'm
stuff.
Sorry.
It wasn't there. I'm sorry. That's what it was.
Boring. This was anything but boring.
This was
exactly.
This was
boring. No,
yeah.
No,
very much so.
Oh
yeah.
My god.
I've not been this bored since First Avenger.
It's like the first time we've had a hard.
Hey, leave Captain America.
Let's not bring First Avenger.
That movie was god awful. Jesus
Thor
Christmas.
2 was boring. This was boring.
Thor 2 to me was way more.
Iron Man 3 was.
It was what I won't argue that. Decisions made in that movie was what was bad. I get what they were trying to do, but horrible execution of it. No, what saved this movie for me was Sam Raimi. Like, all the really cool shit that I love Sam Raimi for is what carried me through this entire movie. Like, I don't know. And no, it wasn't. I didn't get comic booky shit. Like, it just was boring.
It's some of it.
Did you hear me? Did you hear me bring it up yet? I haven't said anything about comic booky.
I mean,
it just didn't capture me.
I found it straightforward, but not boring.
To me, I don't know. To me, like I said, I look at this movie the same way I do Civil War, to where it was like, it's clearly not a movie that furthers a character's progression. It furthers the MCU's progression. And that was my biggest issue with not just giving me just a regular Doctor Strange sequel.
I was worried about that until the Christine storyline. Like, I think this movie really pushed Strange forward.
But to me, I would have appreciated the Christine scene more if I had not have gotten What If. Like, What If kind of explained to you exactly how Strange feels. So, like, just seeing him be able to utter it was like, okay, cool. But, like, we've seen this. I just saw it in What If.
Point.
Sure.
I'd like to say that this actor goes well with What If, because him fixing the watch at the end shows how he's taking a different path than What If, and he is growing from the situation. He's growing from his past, and this movie has a lot of themes of acceptance and happiness and things of that nature, and finding happiness in your situation even if it's not what you wanted it to be. So I think, although it wasn't a huge, like a massive end of arc character moment, I do think this does progress Strange in a way that we haven't seen yet, because he is making a different step than all the other Stranges, there were red flags for him that he saw throughout the movie.
I just believe this progressed Strange as much as Civil War progressed Cap, and I believe it progressed Cap none. It was a movie that was literally to push the story of the MCU, not just Cap. You get to the end of it and you're just like, why does this seem like it's set up an Avengers movie, not what's next for Captain America? Like, I want to see what's next
like
for
Cap
Captain
ended
America.
that movie in the same place he started it. But Multiverse of Madness, I really don't think you can say that.
I 100% say that about Strange. What was the massive difference between Strange? Strange started the movie.
Hang on.
Started the movie though, saying.
One second. In the beginning of the movie, he is trying to get back with Christine at her wedding day. At the woman's wedding day, mind you. But at the end, he's
spoilers, everybody.
Spoilers, sorry. At the end, he's accepting all this. He fixed his watch. He meets his potential love interest, and he's moving on from Christine. If he would have ended in the same spot, he'd still be like, superhero spying on her, making sure she's safe from a distance, watching for a new husband. But he's not. He's living his own life.
He's not moved on by the end, finally.
I'm very confused because it's like, that's not what he did at the beginning. She invited him.
But he was hitting on her. He was trying to get with her.
No.
Yes, he was.
Yes, he was.
Yes, he was.
I'm not arguing that.
Are you sure?
You didn't even let me.
Really work out.
You didn't even let me say what I was gonna say.
I'm sorry.
Not arguing that. I'm saying he was able to let go of Christine in that moment. In that moment when she said it was just never going to work out with us, he felt, okay, cool, no problem. It was when he was able to voice his true intentions to the other Christine that he just kind of just got it out finally. But he accepted it in that moment. He wasn't bitter.
He brought it up in every universe they visited, though. He was very much hung up.
He kept running into it. He just wanted to see how different it was out there. And it was just like, hey,
because
is your Doctor Strange an
cared.
asshole?
He hadn't moved on yet.
He made
what makes you think he doesn't still care now?
He's able to be like, hey, she's happy. I'm letting go. But in each universe, he's like, did we end up together? Like, what were we to each other? And it breaks his heart every time he gets that answer that he knew was coming.
He even tried to get back with her again with the other Christie. He's like, hey, I can show you around my world.
He had his hopes up for a second there, too.
But for what from that scene on, though, tells you that anything changed from that point, though? What makes you think he got on from it?
For me, it was fixing the watch.
What?
The watch.
A lot. Fixing the watch.
Because the watch was used to open the door. The watch for him is basically his still holding on to the past with Christine. So when he fixes the watch, he's like, new year, new me. Time for Clea.
I didn't see it as that. I just saw it as he understands that it can't be harping on my heart anymore. But I don't think it changes the idea that if she got divorced tomorrow, he'd be the first motherfucker in line. Like, hey, you want to fix some stuff?
I'm sure he still loves her, but
so then that's my point.
It's not about getting over her. It's about making peace.
That's what y'all just kept saying. That he moved on from her.
I'm like, he's still pining.
Yeah, I never said he was pining. That's what y'all kept saying. I never said that. All I said was here's what I said. I said it did not further his individual story. And you guys' example of it doing that was that he got over Christine. I never brought up Christine till y'all did.
I said he made peace with it.
All I said was, I never said he was pining over her. I just said the movie ended to where it was essentially like Cap and Peggy. He never let go of Peggy. He was able to, wake up every morning.
That's a whole different thing. That's a whole.
Here's my issue with this storyline.
I don't even have time to cover that.
The issue with Christine is that in the first Doctor Strange film, we end that relationship pretty much before it starts. And we have the Avengers films, the Spider-Man films, where she's never even mentioned. And so all of a sudden, you want me to just buy into the fact that he's madly in love with this character that we barely know.
I'll take that. Yeah.
And so it feels like the character is stagnant because he's getting over a problem we barely knew he had. And I think that's the biggest issue.
I will also say that I like that. I know that like when the first one ended, he did get over his arrogance a bit. However, he took a huge ego blow with not being Sorcerer Supreme, and he is holding on to that resentment, and he's holding on to not handing over the knife still. So when he's bowing to Wong finally, when he takes the small steps to not be like the other strangers, like, encouraging America instead of taking your power, when he had like every green light to do so, those tiny moments build his character for me. And I feel like this is going to be a movie that is retrospectively, we're going to look back on this and we're going to be like, okay, I see where this was going now. I understand what this was.
That's my issue with the MCU lately is that should be an event film. What we just saw should be an event film.
I disagree.
Not a sequel. When you put it as a sequel, and because you can make an argument that your co-main star was a completely different person. Again, I go back to Civil War, and yes, are there small little things that progress Cap as an individual? Yeah, but overall, it's like, what was I supposed to get from this individual? I got a larger overarching story of where you're going. Right. But I just want a sequel that's just about Strange and just about progressing that character as a whole, not just pushing the whole narrative. That's my biggest issue. Right.
I actually like that this wasn't an event film because this opens the door.
It was an event film though. That's my problem.
Not in like the sense that I would call an event film. This is very much a Strange sequel. This isn't an event. To me, this isn't an event film. An event film would be different for me. Yes, Wanda's in it. Yes, Wanda's a villain, but this opens a door for letting them have these crossover sequels and letting them have those like comic booky feels that we, if I pick up a comic book issue and someone's popping in for an issue to handle whatever is going on during that time. It's a very cat and mouse movie too. It's a story that is resolved within the issue of Wanda and her kids and all that. It's resolved within the story. It's a fun time. It's an adventure. It's a cat and mouse chase throughout the multiverse. And I wouldn't call this an event film personally.
This was as much of an event film as a movie we got in December. Only difference was that movie solely focused on progressing Peter and what the future of Peter is, right? It was sprinkles of what the multiverse will be, but it was very heavily driven on Peter's arc, right? A complete turn of how he starts off as a selfish individual that wants everything and realizes that he can't have it all, right? This essentially was Strange going, okay, I can't have Christine here, but it looks like there's other possibilities of Christine. And then it ends with him just going, all right, well, I couldn't have Christine now.
But that was
cool. Let's see what life is about.
Wasn't his motivation throughout the multiverses, though. She just happened to, keep popping up as a...
There has to be a reason why you put Christine in that. But it wasn't his motivation.
He wasn't going through the multiverses to find Christine.
Yeah. No, sure. For sure. 100%. And you can make the argument that Peter wasn't... His intention to start wasn't to be selfish. It's just
also,
what the happenstance.
You keep bringing up Christine, and that's not the only place that we ever saw growth with Strange. The very first scene is a different Strange being like, your life isn't worth this.
But it's not our Strange.
This is the way I'm going to do it. Huh?
It's not our Strange.
But it's a warning of what our Strange could become if he doesn't learn his lesson.
And it's paralleled in the climactic battle where Wong's like, hey, you got to do this. And he's like, no, I really don't. Like, she has the capability. Like, there's always another way.
Flip from the beginning.
And even at the wedding, he's like, is that the only way it could have happened with all these people dying? And Strange is like, yeah, it was the only way. And then by the end, he's like, there's always another way with less death.
I'm going to push back on that a little bit because...
Go ahead, I was just about to say that. Go ahead.
Yeah, you think about 838 Strange reading the Darkhold, right? That was the big change in that universe. And then our Strange reads the Darkhold and has really no repercussions from that. And that might play into the third movie, but that doesn't resolve anything in this
film. Not at all. Not at all.
It's because that Strange became obsessed with it, and in this Strange, all Darkholds were destroyed. So he wasn't able to go further down that path.
And I would make the argument of
every night.
I would make the argument of what you saw Defender Strange do. Strange would have never done. Our Strange would have never done conceptually, because remember, that was the whole premise of Spider-Man, where he was just like, no, they need to go home and die, right? And Peter was like, no, there's another way to do this. And Strange was like, oh shit, you did it. Like, there is another way to do this, but they still need to go back, but they don't have to go back the same way they came. So he had learned that lesson in Spider-Man. So to me, a whole nother universe, Strange saying, I have to kill you in order to save the universe, We don't know that that's a decision our Strange would have made.
But that's what the Strange in Home in Far From Home made, because he was like, these people need to die, so like we're okay.
But what did he say at the end? What did he say at the end?
And that was already done for him. Like
no. Hear me. What did he say at the end? He said, "Oh my God, like it really worked." He was seeing it that another way could have been taken. You didn't have to just send them back how they came.
But it doesn't mean that like initial reaction wasn't still in him.
Sure, but this movie didn't utilize that. This movie, we saw a whole nother Strange think that. What makes us believe that our Strange believe that?
My interpretation of the different Stranges was like our Strange seeing the possibilities of what happens if he doesn't learn how to let go of control sometimes, because it's the control that gets a hold of him, that makes him find anything that he can, like, whatever it takes, he's going to find the way. And you know, that's what I think the Strangers were showing him, if that makes sense.
So when did he actually let go of control?
When he bows down to Wong, because throughout the entire time he refused to acknowledge Wong in the way that he's supposed to.
But even that, in essence, is confusing, because Strange has been Sorcerer Supreme since his first movie, and I've never seen someone bow to him, or the Ancient One. So it's like, well, when was this a custom?
Though
he was Sorcerer Supreme.
At the end of that movie, they said there's no Sorcerer Supreme to safeguard it.
But time out. Peter legit says to him in this last movie, like, I thought you were the Sorcerer Supreme, and he goes, no, it went to Wong.
When did we actually see him be Sorcerer Supreme in the
to be fair, what the hell does Peter know?
Barely.
We were supposed to always but Strange
we know he's not the brightest.
I'd argue that Wong is more about traditions than Strange's. If you want a character,
then I can't put that as an arc for Strange, because that's new to all of us.
When
have we ever heard that?
It's still releasing control, because Strange is like, he's releasing the control because he's like, even though that I'm not into traditions, this is respect to you. You are Sorcerer Supreme. This isn't about me. This is about you right now.
And every single time Strange introduced himself before this movie, was Master of the Mystic Arts, not Sorcerer Supreme.
That's usually always how Strange introduces himself. But fair enough.
Well,
fair enough. Mike, I'll go to you. What were your thoughts on this movie?
This is a very frustrating watch for me, because one, it's not really a Doctor Strange film in the way that I would like to see it. It is more of an event film where we're tying up loose ends from WandaVision in a Doctor Strange movie instead of the season finale of WandaVision. And so it's weird, because we have Wanda. This is the most frustrating part for me about this film, is we have Wanda's character arc, and the entire arc in WandaVision was her getting over her grief and her pain and moving on from it. You know, Vision even has that iconic line of, what is grief if not love persevering?
Mm-hmm.
All to throw that away in this film. And I feel like we could have handled that a little bit better, because we have the Darkhold show up at the end of WandaVision. Mm-hmm. It's corrupted her by the time this movie starts, but we don't show it corrupting our version of Steven. And even when they destroy the Darkhold, Wanda's still evil. So it's really kind of muddled there.
Can I say something really quick, Mike? I think the biggest thing that bothered me about what you're saying is Wanda had the whole realization of how losing control affects others. And it bothered her, right? It shook her to her core. She was just like, oh shit. So to me, again, just my opinion, the way that show ended was just, I'm going to find alternate ways to get my kids. Right. Nothing about that ending let me believe she was willing to kill to get to that. So it was just like, part of me was like, but my point of that is she had been reading the Darkhold, and she looked to be as though it bothered her to kill. What was the thing that shook her out of it? Is seeing how terrified someone was, especially her children, of seeing what she's become. So if it shook you before,
after all of that, like the one she's in the Darkhold at the very end of the show, like we don't know.
She was, and I'll give you that. But we destroy the Darkhold like halfway through this movie. Well, and she's still telling Wong to take her to Mount Wonderboard.
That was kind of at the end.
That was at the end. What? Hold on.
The Darkhold was a copy. The Darkhold that got destroyed was a copy. The actual place was the place that had the
where it came from.
Yeah.
That's
but Mike's point is still valid. It wasn't a physical Darkhold that was manipulating her. At that point, she had saw that she was close to her goal, and she was again willing to kill to get to that said goal. So it still knocks the value of, you had the whole mindset of destroying lives shook you to your core at the end of WandaVision, only for you to go, okay, now there is no Darkhold. Now it's just a shrine. But I'm still willing to do whatever needs to happen.
Exactly.
Right, but
the shrine's not supposed
hear me out.
Literally
This is what
a
I'm
statue
saying.
of the Scarlet Witch in the shrine.
But this is what I'm saying. She destroys it after the fact. So what broke her out of it? If destroying the copy didn't break her out of it, so why did seeing Billy and Tommy snap her out of this crazed control it had her on?
We said it corrupted. We didn't say she was being hypnotized by it. Like,
is that corruption? Is that
corrupted? You're corrupted. That's it. It's not like you have to be connected to the book to still be like doing bad things. I don't understand.
But then what made her stop doing
it? Was her weakness.
The entire
time, her weakness.
That makes no sense what you just said.
The entire time.
I think it does. And hi, guys.
Hi. The entire time, her weakness was her children. Even when she had America, she was like, America said something to the tune of, what's going to happen, when your kids find out. And she's like, oh, they'll never know. But you will know. You kind of saw Wanda like process that for a bit. And that's when the seed was planted, right then and there. When she got what she wanted and she realized, like, through her kids, the only soft spot she had at this point, that's the moment. That's the only thing that could have broke her, even for a second, even for like a slight second, because the only people that she would never, ever, ever hurt are her kids. Once she hurt her kids, when she saw them crying, that's the only time she was ever able to see what she became, because the entire time her motivation was, I'm not a monster, I'm a mother, it's for my kids. And then it was for nothing because she realized that she hurt them in the end anyways.
I could make an argument that narrative was created in WandaVision and it showed her snapping out of it. And then it showed you, right, then it showed you snap her back into it.
She accepted Vision's death, but that piece of like her kids never existing was still inside of her. At the very end of WandaVision, she heard her kids again.
You're not wrong, Jayla, but I think the point you keep missing that I'm saying is the whole concept of her realizing that hurting people was problematic and it bothered her. It's why she relinquished control of all of Westview, because she didn't want to do that.
Before she read the Darkhold.
But right, Trayvon, what I'm trying to say to go ahead, Mike.
No, it's just that makes it even more annoying, Trayvon, because think about it. The Darkhold is something that Agatha Harkness was talking to her about and how it corrupts you and how she shouldn't have anything to do with it. So then she in turn reads it anyway, which again throws out her entire arc from that show. That's not just a problem with this movie. That's annoying about WandaVision too.
Agatha said that she was in the book. So she said she told Monica, I'm going to learn how to use this power. The only thing she had to teach her about herself, supposedly she's in the book. So she picks up the damn book. It was like, let me read about myself then, since I'm in it. And I get maybe, and then she gets corrupted by it.
I think we give too much. She accepted that she hurt people, and she accepted.
I'm going off of MCU logic, not comic logic.
That Vision was.
Stop saying that. I'm not going off of comic book logic. Nothing I said.
Okay.
Nothing I
don't
said.
Read Marvel comics,
booky.
So neither am I.
Nothing I said was comic booky.
Well, I mean.
But first of all, I think we can all agree that grief is not a straight, narrow line, and the reveal of what was actually going on to her can also bring on an onset of a whole other slew of thoughts and feelings that she probably had that I wish we did get built on. I really, really do. I'm not saying that I do agree that she didn't get enough time. I do wish we got more time with it, but I don't think it's unrealistic. I can see it happen. I get it. Because listen,
you can see it happen, but my biggest issue is we have to fill in the blanks ourselves instead of the movie doing its job and laying all that out for us. We spent like 10 minutes debating this Doctor Strange arc that some of us caught, some of us didn't. I feel like that's just bad writing.
See, I know, I understand. I feel you. I think for me, I guess I've never really mind that, because what we did get, and everything I loved about this movie, and even the character moments that we got, and what they did build on, and we got to see, because there is a longer cut that we didn't get to see, unfortunately. I thoroughly enjoyed. I think it was a good story. I think it was a good entry. Sure, it has weak spots, but I feel like every single strong spot it has overpowers the weak spots, and that's even taking away my love for Raimi. I know. Like I said, I know movies for everyone should be good in the moment, but like I see everything I see now and everything I see for the future. This is one of the ones that we grow on, that grows on a lot of people once it gets a bit older, once it has room to breathe, once we see the pieces fall into place of what they're doing here.
Yeah, I think that's a problem for me though.
No, I'm not disagreeing with that at all.
I think if I have to look back and then I can go, all right, I appreciate you. It's like, well, why not have just made it better in the moment where I could have appreciated you at your height?
I do want to say, I admire this movie for being as good as it is when it has to deal with reshoots, because they had to move around things. So don't forget, this is supposed to come right after WandaVision. So they had to reshoot a few things and add a few things, and changing hands with directors and all this stuff. And we still got a product that stands out in the MCU. I mean, if you like it or don't, it still stands out at the end of the day. And I really admire that. And I really do hope that we get to see more. And I do wish Raimi was able to write it, because I feel like if he was able to write this as well as direct it, it would have been a bit more coherent for the things that you guys are missing that you wanted to get for this movie.
I do want to add this as I pass it back to you, Mike. I do want to add that. No. I do want to add this. I think for me, this movie was very visually pleasing for everything Sam Raimi does, right? To where you go, I know, Blake, you were arguing with AJ not too long ago about that seance sequence. I enjoyed it. That's, if you know Sam Raimi, that's Sam Raimi. I believe you have to like Sam Raimi to appreciate that. I think if you're not a fan of Sam Raimi, I can see how AJ looks at it. But a lot of
I
Sam
saw that specific scene just before we go past that. I saw the movie a second time, and with my friend that I saw it with, and I have seen it a lot on Twitter at this point, is that Raimi he saw a 2-page long exposition dump of Mordo going over what dreamwalking is. And Raimi's like, I'm not just going to watch two people have a conversation explaining what this is. Instead, he actively shows Wanda doing it. And at least we get to see a visual of it, as opposed to just, the back and forth. It had some style to it, which I think the MCU actually lacks a lot of.
Also,
as much
the guitar riffs, more guitar riffs in Doctor Strange.
And the guitar riffs. That's
more music fights too.
Oh man.
Yeah, but like I said, visually this movie was pleasing in every conceivable way. But it's like the story. What was I telling you about the entire season of Moon Knight? It's the story that captivated me. All the other glitz and glamour, that's cool. That's easy to do in today's world, right? Very easy to do. But what I appreciate about movies that don't have the glitz and glamour of someone that can just swing from webs is, what does your story do? How does your story sit in the core of me, right? Like, how does a story carry me? And this story I just thought wasn't the strongest of the MCU. That's it. Don't think it was horrible. Don't think it was the worst thing ever. I just think the story it was lacking. It wasn't that great of a story.
The portion of this story, the only part that I think was lacking, was just Wanda's arc. Not that her specific arc in this movie wasn't good, just that I agree that it is either just a disregard of WandaVision, or it was just a copy and paste of what she went through in WandaVision, just kind of dialed up a few notches.
It was a bit rushed too. Her reveal was a bit rushed.
A lot of things were rushed.
I agree that her reveal was
rushed.
Change. I'm just so glad they didn't jerk us around for an hour. Like,
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be honest with you. The thing that really almost made me get up, right? Like, get up and walk out, was when Strange shows up to the fields and they're talking, and she goes, yeah, Chavez. I'm paraphrasing. And she's like, oh, you didn't say her name, did you? And it's just like, how is that a fuck up you make?
Wait. But she said on. She literally said, she's like, the hex was easy, but lying wasn't. Yeah. So she said that she admitted that she wasn't a good liar.
That was like the easiest. You just didn't have to say it. It wasn't a lie. Just don't say it.
She slipped up. It was a Freudian slip.
Somebody who doesn't know how to lie.
Man, I'll admit that is a nitpick.
That's an actual slip up that people do all the time. It's a slip up.
If I'm watching a murder mystery and the guy goes, yeah, I didn't kill Carl. I never told you about Carl. And it's like, oh shit.
That's why the reveal was so quick.
She's not afraid of him. She's not.
It is a lot harder to convince
then if you're not
yourself.
Afraid, why lie? That makes
there's
sense.
This portion that I'm not supposed to know right now.
Wait, say it again, Blake.
It's harder than you think to convince yourself. Like, there's this little portion of information I don't have yet in their eyes. Like, if you want to kind of keep that facade going, which Wanda is I mean, she's not an evil person. She was corrupted by the Darkhold, which made her an evil person in this movie, but she really can't lie. She can murder pretty well, but she
Juwaan,
can't lie.
try playing Among Us. Play Among Us for a few rounds and tell me you don't slip up in some kind of way.
Literally.
Play Among Us.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah,
It's so it is easy.
One day,
it's hard.
Need to do.
I've slipped up many times.
I don't trust the people that are good at Among Us. Let's just say that.
No facts. No facts.
Mike, did you want to add anything else, Mike?
Not really. It's kind of everything we've already said. I feel like Wanda's arc is either, like Blake was saying, it's either redoing stuff we've already touched on in WandaVision or just disregarding it entirely at points, because this arc with her kids is the same arc she went through with Vision. So that's kind of frustrating. And then we go to Steven's story, which seems to be an afterthought most times. I admit it is there, which is better than nothing, I guess. But Steven, even America Chavez, like, we know nothing about that character. So it's a lot of stuff happening, but not a lot of information is being conveyed to the viewer. With I have no connection to America Chavez. I don't know why we're so bent on protecting this kid, especially when you see the length Steven is going to go to protect her. Mm-hmm. I would have liked to establish that connection a little bit more. I feel like this film would have worked if we were dealing with an alternate version of Wanda, like a multiverse version of Wanda, who didn't go through WandaVision, and this was her arc, and it would be a Wong, Strange, Scarlet Witch team up against that Wanda. It would be a little more simplified, and we can spend time with these characters bouncing off each other instead of, hey, you watched WandaVision, you get it, let's go. Because some people didn't watch WandaVision, and they have no idea what's going on.
And that's their fault.
I mean, do you have to watch a Disney Plus show to understand a Doctor Strange movie?
Yes.
You shouldn't have to, but
that was
where
the
we are in the
whole
MCU, that's their brand.
Yeah.
But that was their whole point. Like, that was the whole point of putting all that stuff on Disney Plus.
That's how
was
they
to have the
marketed
filler
Disney
in
Plus.
between.
I don't necessarily disagree with that, but to Mike's point, it should be conveyed in a way to where you're not catering to people that haven't seen it, but it's also it's comprehensive enough to where it's like, even if you didn't see it, you are very much still in the loop of everything that's happening.
Yeah,
so
like Spider-Man No Way Home doesn't require you to watch Spider-Man 1, 2, 3 and The Amazing Spider-Man to get what's happening in the plot, you know?
Right. Or even Doctor Strange. Really.
Well,
if you didn't see Doctor Strange,
to be fair, if you don't watch those movies, you'd be like, what the hell are these people?
When
you're
he
not gonna
saves
have
her, you're not going to
you're not gonna have that attachment to the other Spider-Mans. If you,
not really. To me, I kind of feel like as long as you know that they were Spider-Man, that kind of
I don't know.
Kind of solidified.
I think a lot of that builds on the cachet of you already seeing the older ones, and you have that you have those memories with those characters.
A lot
because,
of
like
the
Trevon said,
does depend on that.
Yeah, like
I feel like the story still works.
No, it makes sense.
Right?
So I'm just saying, like, as far as impact, emotional impact, yes.
Yeah,
but
you
as
tell
far as
me it's like it's again like a comic book though, right? Where if you're reading a Superman Batman crossover, it helps to know what's going on in their respective stories.
Yep.
But most writers will just know, hey, this is the world's finest book. We're going to tell the story here, without you having to rely on everything else that happened before. Right. Because if you watch Spider-Man No Way Home, you know that these are just villains from the multiverse. They don't care about, you don't have to have an attachment to Willem Dafoe. It might help with emotional impact, but it doesn't affect the story at all. Because it's still Peter's arc.
I wouldn't even necessarily say emotional. I think you kind of need to know the story for some of those moments where, like, you see people going crazy because, like, he said, I'm somewhat of a scientist myself, and it's like, oh, what? Like, if you didn't see the movie, you're just like, I don't know what the fuck that means. Like, okay,
but I'm saying, like,
scientist.
to Trayvon's point earlier, that catch when Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man caught MJ. And, you know, you wouldn't have understood why that was such a big moment if you didn't watch the other ones.
Now, I'm glad you said that, but not seeing it didn't take away from enjoying the overall movie because you didn't see that.
Because but remember earlier in that film, he straight up says, I lost my MJ. So context
that's not
gives you an
enough,
idea of what that is about.
That's not okay.
I don't know if I agree with that.
I don't know. Look, like I say, I see it in the stance of, because I tell people like, oh, I'm gonna go watch Endgame. Like, do I have to watch every MCU movie?
Yes.
No, it'd be good for you to.
Yeah.
So like when certain moments pop up, like when Cap grabs the hammer, you're like, oh, I know what that means. But could you shut your mind off and just enjoy that movie for the visual spectacle it is? Yes, you can. Yes,
you didn't need the Avengers movie.
Endgame?
No. Now, if you said Infinity, you said Infinity War.
Infinity War, okay.
Not even
Infinity War, I would agree.
Endgame,
I don't think you
Infinity
could.
War, I won't really
Hear me. To enjoy it for a visual spectacle, yes, you can. Understanding, yes, of course we want people to go through the whole MCU, but just to shut your brain off and enjoy it. But I say the same for Doctor Strange.
I mean, the whole first two acts aren't even
the
exact same for Doctor
visual
Strange. And enjoy the visual.
Right? Same thing,
You
right?
can say the same thing.
Time out.
Yeah.
Hold on. Time out. Didn't I say that though? Didn't I say
No,
I
okay,
enjoyed the visuals of this movie? I legit said that when I started this.
You're
I
losing
enjoyed
me.
the visuals.
Go ahead, continue.
I legit said that. I said everything Sam Raimi did, I thought was great. It was just a weak script. That's it. That's all I said. It was just a weak script. That's why it bored me. But the visual aspects of it and Sam Raimi's hand on it was great. The story has to be good. Trevon, I'm sorry. I sat through 3 weeks of you telling me you couldn't enjoy Moon Knight because there was no fucking action. Like, what are we talking about right now? The story was comprehensive. So what are we talking about right now? If the story was comprehensive, but there's no action, is that the same thing that I'm saying? Like, I don't understand.
If I can interject for a second. Do you think that is one of those things where maybe you would have enjoyed the script more if this was put out some years ago, and maybe it's a case of some Marvel fatigue?
I will never have superhero movie fatigue ever. I just think the script was weak. That's it. I just think it was weak. If you had written it better, I'd be having a whole nother conversation here. Again, I don't think it's the worst thing I've ever seen. I don't think it's crap. I don't think it's one of Marvel's worst. I just think you had a weak script. Yes, because hear me, I'm saying it, so I believe I'm sure. You have made a weak script for a movie that I thought should have been so much better than what it actually was. Simple as that. Simple as that. You would have thought I fucking came in here and said this shit was like the first Hulk movie. God damn. Mike, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
I'm done. Throw it to someone else.
Goodness gracious. Blake, what were your thoughts on this movie?
I liked it. It was good. My complaint is Wanda's arc. Like I said, not necessarily how it's done in this movie, just the overall either ignoring WandaVision or undermining it bothers me. But at the same time, Sam Raimi took an Avenger and turned her into a horror movie villain. And that's just stuff that I want to see more in superhero movies in general, just to play with those kinds of genres, like the jump scares in a superhero movie. I haven't really seen much of that since the early 2000s with the Spider-Man trilogy and Ghost Rider and even Blade, the one that started
the Loki
it all.
jump scare finally.
Miss
Loki
Minutes
jump
still
scare?
haunts my
The Loki
nightmares.
jump scare.
Miss Minutes one.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's pretty fucking scary.
that was a good one.
I totally
Terrifying.
forgot about that.
Yeah.
Hey,
I think the horror helped. Like Doctor Strange has always had that supernatural blend of horror. And I think Sam Raimi was the perfect person to bring that to this movie because he's used to, I mean, his style is blending slapstick and horror together, which it's, if you follow me on Twitter, I've been binging Evil Dead all week with Sabrina.
Nice shameless plug.
Yes, I go watch Evil Dead and Ash versus Evil Dead. If you like Doctor Strange, and even if you didn't like it, you'd still like Evil Dead. But Doctor Strange of all characters needed something like that. I love him as a character, and I always have, but his first movie just did not do it for me at all. I don't think it's a bad movie, but for me, it's kind of bottom tier MCU. I call it Walmart Iron Man, which might be too harsh, but
Wait,
I
what
would
movie?
say,
What movie?
wait,
What movie?
really
Oh,
quick,
no.
Doctor Strange, right?
really quick.
Yeah, I can see that.
I would say to Blake, maybe watch it again. I only suggest, like, obviously you're entitled to your opinion, but I would say when my boyfriend and I saw the first Doctor Strange for the first time in theaters, we literally wanted to fall asleep. I don't know what it was about that night. It was just we walked out of that movie theater going like, wow, that was so boring. And then after Infinity War and seeing how like good of a role Doctor Strange had in that, we went back and rewatched the first Doctor Strange. All of a sudden we're like cracking up and all that. And then afterwards it's like, why did we think that was so bad the first time? So I don't know if like you've only seen it once and maybe you should see it again.
I agree with that because I've gone back and I've revisited movies like even Batman v Superman. I didn't love it when I first saw it, but years later revisiting it, I do like it. And unfortunately, I have seen Doctor Strange about 3 times, and it's just
so that's just true.
I watched it recently, and I'm like, maybe today's the day. And I got through it, and I was like, good lord.
No, I think after 3 times that.
Yeah, because I love Strange, and I enjoy him in this movie. I don't have a problem with him. It's just literally everything else. Just
I think my biggest issue with that movie was, and you see it for things like Thor, to where it just seems like certain directors understand characters better. Right? Like, not that yours was inferior. It's just he kind of maybe understands him in a way you couldn't grasp.
I think
so I look at what Scott did, and I'm like, it wasn't bad, but I look at what Raimi did, and I'm like, well, Raimi would be really cool if he could write and direct. Like,
what's different about them is Sam Raimi has, like I said, that slapstick humor he can use with horror, so he can get away with that PG-13 or that pushing the boundaries PG-13, like Army of Darkness or Drag Me to Hell. But Scott Derrickson is a very R-rated horror movie director. Like he does genuinely scary stuff. So I think if he got to do what he would have, like with full creative control for that first Doctor Strange, would have been amazing. And that's why he left the second one, because he's like, my heart won't be in it because I can't make my movie. I mean, so I'm gonna leave.
And look, I appreciate it because like a lot of one thing I was telling Joel the other day that I really appreciate Sam Raimi was given the freedom to do. When Wanda throws Captain Carter's shield back at her, it's very quick, but you do see the body split and then the top half drop, right? Yeah. So, like, you don't see it go through her, but you do see the after effect. That's a lot of things that people, 3 years ago would have assumed would never be in a
You see her rip Xavier's head in half.
Right.
Someone pointed that out on Twitter. I didn't even notice that until...
Yeah.
Well, so like, you see what kind of movie that's going to be, like, the second, like, I forget the name of the monster, but, like, with the eyeball, like, the second it pops out, I was like, oh, my God, like, it's going to be that kind of movie, like, they're not holding back on any of it.
Right. Yeah, not Shumagora.
Not Shumagora.
But no, I appreciate that. Yeah. I appreciate that, because, look, it goes against the narrative of people saying, like, oh, Feige also doesn't let directors do what they want to do, and you look at this movie, and you're like, I don't see much that Raimi had to try to sell Kevin on. It kind of seems like he came to the table and Feige just said, fuck it.
That's the thing is Feige hires directors that do fall under his category of like, hey, do this, don't do this.
Right.
Like Edgar Wright left Ant-Man because he wouldn't roll with it. And Sam Raimi knows how to roll with it because of Spider-Man to a degree, because Spider-Man 3.
He got a lot of leash though. Like a lot. This movie was drastically different than anything in the MCU. So
yeah, his style I think fits the MCU particularly well, whereas some directors don't get that leeway because they can't fit it. Right. Like Taika Waititi fits it very well, thus he gets a lot more control than say Scott Derrickson would for the first Doctor Strange.
Right. Yeah. Yep. No disagreements there. Did you want to add anything else, Blake?
I think that's about it.
All right, Trevon, what were your thoughts on this movie?
I loved it. I absolutely love this movie. I love the beginning. I love everything. So I love when they were in that whatever field or whatever it was, and I was like, is this real? Like, to me, what that showed me is she can even fool him. I was like, you came into her reality warping area. Like, once she changed it, I was like, oh, he didn't even. The fact that he didn't realize that it wasn't real is crazy to me. That showed me very beginning.
I feel like he did a little bit just because he's like, wow, they almost smell real. Like I feel like, I don't know if it's just because he assumed it was Wanda and like maybe she just conjured something up, or if he like had a sneaking suspicion, but I was like, also, maybe he knew.
It's also a big tell that once she let go of it, he wasn't really shocked. It was kind of just like, same shit.
I mean, I guess, but I mean, the fact that he came to her to ask her a question, like, you wouldn't have asked her the question if you thought she was the villain. Like, if you thought she was doing that, why would you come ask her that?
Well,
So-
I don't. Well, I think they said he didn't know she had the Darkhold. So no, I don't think he thought she was evil. But like he said, that Westview thing did not escape him. He knew very much about that shit, and it just wasn't important at the moment. But I'm sure if everything was cool and he just randomly caught up to Wanda one day, he would have some questions for sure. He would have a few questions.
I don't know. I got the impression that he's kind of scared of her. So that's what I got.
He was a little scared when she attacked Carmitage. I will
Like
say
I
that.
feel like he was scared of her.
I'll say at Carmitage he was scared, but in that moment, I don't think he knew the extent of her power in that moment. Like if he knew she had the Darkhold, yes. It wasn't until she showed up and it was just like, oh shit.
I mean, Scarlet Witch seemed to like put a shovel down his spine. I mean, to me, like every time, like when they talked about it, I was like, oh, so they're a little scared of this word, this name of this character. I was like, okay.
He got
Yeah,
the
they
box
never-
clout.
I think to what Juwaan was saying that they didn't, and when he first saw her, he didn't realize that she was the Scarlet Witch.
Right.
Like once he realized who she was, yeah, definitely. I think they were all like, all right, we're going through a lot right now. Hold on.
Right. Yeah, and also they never made it clear or not, and I'm sorry, Trevon. They never made it clear or not if Strange knows what the Scarlet Witch is. Like obviously Agatha knew that the power was stronger than the Sorcerer Supreme, but they never made it known if Strange knows or Wong. knows the
Wong mentioned
power
it at
of it.
Carmitage.
Yeah, I think they did.
Okay.
Wong mentioned it, so we know
I
Wong
think
knows. We don't know
Wong
if Strange
knows.
really knew.
Okay,
the
so
extent of
yeah.
that, though.
Yeah, I didn't think Strange did. So that could also speak to Trayvon why Strange, when he first saw her, wasn't just like, oh shit, like, oh my God. It was more so just like, you look really dope, Wanda. And then-
like the new costume.
yeah, and then when she showed up, it was just like, oh, that's what Wong was. Okay, all right. So I thought that was really cool that she has all the knowledge about a Sorcerer Supreme, and Strange is just like, I know nothing. And Wong's
That's
like,
what-
that's why you're
that's
not
why
the Sorcerer Supreme.
I was just gonna say that's why Strange isn't the Sorcerer Supreme anymore.
Right. But
Yeah,
go ahead, Trayvon.
he didn't get the special book, apparently. That was
Apparently.
funny.
Right.
I was like, what special book? Can we see it?
That's a great line, by the way. That explains why he knows nothing, right?
Yeah.
Wong has the book.
Yeah.
I was like, man. Because I guess he just got it by default. He didn't get it by, I don't know, something. I don't know.
I don't know.
Weird.
Part of me, Trayvon,
Both of
feels
them got
like,
it by default. Both of them got it by default, technically.
but
right?
part of me feels like Wong knew where all the information was, and when the Ancient One essentially chose Steven, he was just like, man, fuck you, Steven. I ain't telling you where all the good shit is. Like, learn the basics.
That might be true, yeah.
there could be some truth to that for sure.
I mean, he
the
was the
librarian.
librarian, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah, he was
Yeah,
a librarian.
yeah.
Yeah. And you know what's funny? Somebody probably said something about a Scarlet Witch, and Steven was just like, hey, Wong, I heard blah, blah, blah say something about a Scarlet Witch. Have you ever heard of this? He's like, no, I've never heard of that. Don't worry about it. It's cool. Don't worry about it. And it's just like, Wong, you knew this the whole time? Yeah, I did. You're right, Mike. He was a librarian, so he was sitting on some shit for sure. But go ahead, Trayvon.
Trayvon, you're muted. Oh, okay. He said, hold on.
All
I
right.
thought he was talking.
I got scared for a second too. Mr. E, we'll definitely get into all that. I just didn't want to bring it up myself. I wanted to leave it up to whoever wanted to bring that up themselves. He's referring.
Okay.
He was asking. Okay, go ahead, Trevon. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. What are you about to say?
No, I was just saying. Mr. E was asking, like, are we going to talk about the whole X-Men animated theme as Xavier rolled out? And it's like I wanted to leave that for someone else to bring up. I didn't want to. You know what I'm saying?
I'm getting to that
So,
scene.
Go
I
ahead.
have thoughts.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm getting into that. Oh my
Go ahead.
God. With that scene. I'm going right to that. So okay. When we got there, he was like, oh, we're going to meet Illuminati. I was like, okay, let's get to it. I was like, come on. Who's up there? Who's up there? Like, it was cool to see Captain Marvel, of course, see Captain Carter. Awesome. I'm gonna say this right quick. I wish a lot of this stuff was not in these trailers or whatever. Like seeing Captain Carter, I saw her in the one of the trailers I saw, who knows what it was. I saw her like her shield or whatever. I was like, I wish I didn't know that. Like we already knew about Professor Xavier. I wish they didn't give that away either, honestly. But we already knew about that. So I wasn't surprised when I saw him rolling up. But it was cool to hear the music. You did hear the thing. I was like, oh, okay, here he comes. Cool.
Mhm.
But when they said Reed Richards, and he came out of that, whatever that portal, wherever the hell that was, I screamed. I was so excited. I was like, yes. And they got him. I was like, oh my God. So what does this mean? your mind starts running. Like, especially the first movie, all my mind just kept running. Like, okay, does that mean he's reading every universe? Like, I was really excited. That's when my mind started going.
To be fair,
so
just to kind of like pour some water.
No.
Hold on, you don't know where I'm going yet. I'm saying he just ended his show with Amazon Prime, right? We did just lose a director for Fantastic Four. John Krasinski does happen to direct and act.
Yes, he does.
Very possible he acts and directs the next Fantastic Four. So it leaves the door open. So, albeit multiversal versions could mean that he's not. And there is a different actor to play Reed.
Somebody else could have.
Right. Yeah. But I do find it very apropos that a rumor came out last year that someone in the Fantastic Four has already been casted, and then we see John Krasinski show up, and then we never hear anything else, right? We lose a director, like a whole bunch of shit starts to snowball.
Plus, don't you think that that's too big of an actor for just for that cameo?
I'm sorry, did you miss Ben Kingsley as a fake ass?
Yeah, but I assume that but he ended up coming back.
But in a very pointless role.
Also, to be fair, Marvel loves loves casting fan casts, if that makes sense. Like,
really?
Cumberbatch is strange.
Oh, okay, that's fair. I would say that's probably the only one that I know of off the top of my head.
I feel like there's one more. Cumberbatch is strange and someone else.
Because Feige usually goes with unknowns. That's usually what the recipe has been for most of this large.
I love the unknown that they got from Moon Knight. That was a good call.
I've never heard of that guy before.
It was their best one.
Also, Angelina Jolie for Thena.
I've never heard of her before.
I think we're gone with the no names. I think that was
not really. I think Gemma Chan is not that wildly known.
But Charlize Theron would like to have a word with you.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, Chris Hemsworth is like the only unknown that I can really think of.
Tom Holland was unknown. Tom Hiddleston was unknown. If you didn't see Fantastic Four, it's a really good chance you didn't know who Chris Evans was.
I mean, Chris Evans was in like every early 2000s
Scott Pilgrim. I guess a lot of people didn't see Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah, I've never seen.
Not another.
Chris Evans was in a ton
not
of
another
rom-coms.
teen movie.
He was.
You tell me you didn't see the critically acclaimed
You should watch Scott
Push?
Pilgrim.
It's a great movie.
Juwaan.
I'm telling you that if
our
not
highest viewed review.
He was Captain America before that role, though.
If
He
I
just
have
did
to watch
First
the
Avenger.
Clone Wars, you definitely got to watch Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah, you
and
have
I
to
will
watch
mention
that.
it every
I can't believe you haven't seen that.
The day you tell me you are completely caught up.
No.
I'll watch it.
You know
That's
how many
not the
more
law of
hours
equivalent
that is?
exchange.
That is not equivalent at
It's
all.
a quick movie.
Really
Yes,
not.
it's an equivalent. Well, figure out an equivalent.
Yeah, I'm actually shocked that you haven't seen it.
Yeah,
I would have been sure that you saw it.
No, it's a masterpiece. I don't care.
Nah, at the time it wasn't.
I
watched the movie.
It.
Actually,
Wow.
video
It's
game
like
twice.
Scott Pilgrim.
It's so good.
Okay,
It's
you
like
know
one of
what,
my favorite
Jamie?
movies.
Jamie, I'll go play the video game. There you go. But
No,
Trayvon,
you have to watch the movie.
I'll
Let's play
think
the
about
video game.
Trayvon, kicking it back to you. What else did you want to bring up?
I loved her killing all of them. I thought that was it showed her power once again. I was like, oh, she's not playing. Like, she killed all of them, but she didn't have a personal connection to any of them. So I was like, well, it's all right. So she killed them. I did see online somebody was like, maybe if it was like somebody like another Tony Stark or something, like somebody that she's new in a different universe, but it's the same face. Like, she had to face one of them, would she have hesitated? I wonder. I don't know. Like, I don't know if she was still just.
It should have been Vision.
I mean, it would have been interesting to see her face somebody like that. Just to see.
They should have brought in Vishan.
Yes.
That should have been in the multiverse. That should have been it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the movie overall. Like, I don't want to like hold up and keep spewing forever, but I really had it was really fun for me. Like, I loved like her arc. I loved the dream walking. I loved everything. I love all that stuff. I love the way that he had to go into his zombie body. I thought that was awesome. That was a great, like, I didn't even think of that until he brought it up. I was like, oh yeah, okay. You can bring somebody back. You can dream walk into a dead body. The implications of that. Like, I did think about the incursion. Like they kept talking about the incursion. I was like, what about the incursion of 838 when all the heroes are dead? Like, what happens? All those heroes are gone. I mean, all we got left is Mordo. I mean, I guess I was like, what happens there? Like
Mordo gotta handle shit. Yeah, Mordo gotta hold it down.
In that incursion.
Do they have the time stone to rewind it back? Like,
that's what I was low-key thinking where the time stone was in all of this.
They have the stones, right? They have some of them. Like, so they beat Thanos, right?
They didn't say Thanos got rid of him in that universe. We technically don't know.
They have them.
You can see the stones on his gauntlet in that scene.
So that'd be interesting.
Well, in the comics, that was one of the biggest reasons they formed the Illuminati, was that each person would have their own gem, right? And they were the keeper of that said gem to make sure nothing happened to it.
Basically, the Illuminati were so much cooler in the comics than they were in this movie.
Yeah. That's an
cannon fodder
here that I kind of had with the film, is that we go to that Earth, right? See the Illuminati, and nothing really becomes of it. She wipes them out. It doesn't advance the story aside from showing Strange where the Book of Vishanti was, and so it was almost like, what was the point of this scene?
See, like, but that's what I liked though, because the way they teased it, like, and I know a lot of people have been like arguing, like, oh, we were like trying to say like, oh, by the title we should have gotten more, but like, I liked that it just didn't focus on that, and there was still like more story to tell.
They just shouldn't have shown it in the trailer because it was just a fan service way to push the story forward. Like, that's really all it was.
Yeah.
But like, that's what I was afraid of. I was like, I don't want them to just rely on cameos. Like I want an actual like Doctor Strange story, which was like what I got from it, and which was what made me happy.
Well, this would have been.
Think the name of the movie maybe like the Multiverse of Madness made you think of multiple. When they only stop to like.
No, I agree, but it's just like
thing that I,
And there.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's still a Doctor Strange movie, so like you want it to still be about him.
Yeah, true.
And it was a pretty crazy multiverse adventure.
I felt like it was Scarlet Witch.
That's why I'm like, I liked it as a whole. Absolutely.
I don't necessarily agree with that. I've seen a movie that was an event movie.
But I enjoyed that. So.
Wait, Juwaan, what do you mean? Like, what were you trying to say?
I definitely watched Civil War. That was not a Captain America movie.
I knew that's where you were going with it.
That was nothing but just like, all right, how can we squeeze all the Avengers in?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like,
very narrow.
That's what seeing the trailers, because at first I was like, oh my god, this looks so good, but then I was like, when I kept hearing all the like cameo stuff, I was like, I really hope it's not just about that.
But that's what I'm saying. I agree with Trevon, because of the name is why I would have accepted it. That movie was legit just called Captain America Civil War, right? Once you heard that, you were just like, well, Avengers are going to be in this movie, right? So
because the title alone,
Right, so calling it the Multiverse of Madness, I'm like, lean a little bit more into it.
It was more of an event film than a Captain America film, but I can't say Multiverse of Madness was an event film. It definitely focused on Strange.
Yeah. Well, I think it was like also their way. Like, I'm not.
Captain America didn't ignore Captain America. It just was an overall story, and I believe this was the same thing. It was telling just an overall story that sprinkled in Doctor Strange's story. And like you said, Trevon, you looked at it as Wanda's story. So I'm like, well, shit. If it was Wanda's story,
I enjoyed
you're telling me that they rolled Doctor Strange in this movie like a blunt.
I mean,
like,
it's also like looking at Infinity War as a Thanos movie. You're not wrong. The villains usually they have to have a significant story too.
Yeah, but I agree.
But like, I'm not saying like 100%. Like, if I got what I wanted out of it, that's because that's what I was afraid of. I was like, I don't want to just focus, and not even just about cameo. Like, my other problem was like, I don't want it to focus just on Wanda. Like, I know she's the villain, but like, at the end of the day, it's Doctor Strange's movie. You know what I mean? Like, you want it to still be focused on him.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying about it not solely focusing on cameos, which is good, but the way they handled the cameos is what kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Yeah. Because we introduced the Illuminati pretty much just to show how powerful Wanda is. They serve no other purpose besides being cannon fodder for her.
Well, I think like, because like me and Blake talked about it too. I think like the leak thing, like all the leaks that always come out like about like who's going to be in it and everything can like ruin that hype too, because it's like you're expecting it now. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't want to like a part of me doesn't want to know everything anymore.
They shouldn't have showed the Illuminati in the trailer, because they show Professor X alone. People think, wow, who else are they not showing? If they're showing Professor X and what the first
See, like
trailer
that didn't bother me
actually
because he was in the first trailer and people. Like, I remember even at the premiere, people were like, "Wait, Patrick Stewart went to the premiere," and people were like, "They're not even trying to hide it." It was like, why would they hide it if he was in the trailer? In like the first trailer they dropped.
I want to lean to what Mike is saying. I don't think knowing that they were going to be in it is what bothered me. It's
no, seeing the
like
picture.
You said, just using them as like you said, Mike, just using them as cannon fodder was just like
no. This like seeing
like, a few of them couldn't have put up just slightly. A bit more of a fight, like, like.
No,
well, I don't want to
see
Captain Carter Captain
What
Carter. They did. They put up some type.
They
of
did.
Fight.
I mean,
See, you say this,
okay.
Juwaan,
No,
but
pushed,
like during the
no.
Moon Knight finale, Harold blew all the other avatars away, and you were okay with that. So I'm like,
I'm sorry. I watched Black Bolt just get his mouth covered and his head exploded.
And that was
you
great.
at least got to see them put up a fight.
hold on.
All the other avatars are like, okay, we're ready, and then it's like,
Yeah, but
that
Jamie,
wasn't
like,
brilliant.
that's what we got.
But in
Come
the
on.
overall spectrum, like, who cares about the
mean-
gods? We're not gonna see them again.
So-
Like, that was the whole
I
purpose.
can't.
We will
I
see
Yeah.
want
Black
to
Bolt
see
again.
something.
Hold on. So the Black Bolt killing wasn't brilliant to you guys? Like I thought that was
I
awesome.
thought that was
good moment.
Like,
Yeah,
No,
that was
sure. I would
But, like-
have liked it more if she saw it firsthand, like him using it, and she was like, "Oh shit! Like I need to do something to nullify
And
his
she
ability
saw
to
it,
They
do
she
it."
did
to
mention
die.
it. It says one whisper. She said, "What mouth?" I was like, "What?" I was like,
That's
yes.
a great
Yes,
scene.
girl.
It's fantastic. But
Like, don't
I-
even give him a chance to use it. Just eliminate.
yeah,
I agree with that.
It's a fantastic scene, and all of their death scenes are brilliant. Like that's not a knock on the direction or the creativity behind it, but I feel like I don't know. I feel like when you're introducing these characters, like if it was variants of the Avengers, you could probably get away with that. Like if she takes Thor and Hulk out, with a snap of a finger, you see how powerful she is. But this is our first MCU version of Professor Xavier. This is our first introduction to Black Bolt. This is our first look at John Krasinski as Reed Richards, and she just demolishes them. And the reason that doesn't work is we don't know these characters, and they play that X-Men theme to remind you of what you remember about Professor X, but we have no attachment to this version of Professor X. That's what makes
Excuse me, did you not watch Inhumans and just fall in love with Black Bolt?
I love the scene where he did like accidentally kill his parents. That was iconic.
Oh no,
Yes.
I didn't.
Why?
Yeah.
Why?
I saw. So
Exactly.
okay. So for me, yeah. I watched the whole Inhuman show. Of
Mhm.
course, seeing X-Men in it. So I felt like when you show all of them, it kind of told us like, oh, so this universe is full. This universe got the full Fantastic Four, got X-Men, got Humans, they got everything in this universe. Like, I can't wait till we get that over in ours. Like, let's get it going. Like, I was like, this is cool. That's what I thought of.
Look, Trayvon,
Nice.
all I'm saying is, look, the way Feige's talking, it looks like maybe right now that's not going to come into fruition, but I am not one of circumstance, right? Like, I don't believe in like, oh, they just did it just to do it.
Yeah,
They mentioned Terrigen Mist
they did.
when announcing Black Bolt.
They
Miss
did.
Marvel is a few weeks away. I have to imagine that is a overarching plan going forward, and we'll see Black Bolt again sooner rather than later, to where a lot of people thought 2 years ago, Feige's never going to do the Inhumans. And now it's a matter of when, not if,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
when. So when they said the Terrigen Mist, I was just like, okay, I see you. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, it's coming. We're going to see some people living on the moon. All right, I'm with you. Did you want to add anything else, Trayvon?
I don't think so. I think that was pretty cool. American Chavez power is really cool. I did have one like random question.
Did
about
she
her,
fly?
but- It's fine. She didn't fly, but in the cartoon I saw, she did. So maybe she'll learn.
Vindication.
How to.
No, but to be fair, Trayvon, in Marvel's bio for America Chavez, it does say flying. I don't know why,
I know,
but it
I
does
know.
say flying, and it's just like, stop that! Like
So-
you're only
so she-
fueling Trayvon.
If she can open the portals, right? Multi-dimensional. I was like, so can't you just open regular portals? Like just a portal, like I don't know, to another state. Like I was like, they don't have to be multiversal all the time, do they? Like I was
Scale it back a little bit.
Yeah, like that should be easier for you, right? Hey, I want to get to New York right quick. I'm in California. Boom. Like just like go for it. I thought it was cool. I'd like her like when she was punching, like she could use the power of the whatever that power she has. She could use it to punch and kick. And stuff like that. I thought that was pretty cool too. So I can't wait. I hope to see more of her. I want to see more of that explored, like what else she can do. Rather than, I just don't want her to be another Doctor Strange making like regular portals. I want her kind of portals.
Yeah.
So
I mean, look, she's definitely going to be one of the young Avengers, so you'll definitely see her sooner rather than later. But how she progresses in her power set, that's that remains to be seen. Because there's only but so much Wong can do. Wong's like, I don't fucking know how to do none of this
if
shit.
this is after Spider-Man No Way Home, I was like, so if it's after Spider-Man No Way Home, I hate this timeline stuff, but I can't help but think about it. If it's after that, that means Wanda might have had the Darkhold for years, like maybe like a couple of years, because WandaVision was right after Endgame, and Spider-Man No Way Home was a couple of years after. So wouldn't she have had like that's
a couple of months after.
Yeah, it wasn't a whole year. It wasn't a year.
It wasn't a year.
Yeah, Spider-Man members. Far From Home was like a year. What they say was like a year after.
Far From Home was like a year after Endgame.
Yeah,
this probably took place a couple months after that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But WandaVision was days after Endgame, so that's what I'm saying. Is that there's probably like a year time in between.
She's had a Darko for a while. Like if you think about it.
Yeah, so, maybe a year.
Yeah. So
a year, I'll give you.
Far From Home was just a few months after Endgame.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let me see.
Well, wait, I don't remember.
I'll give you that.
It wasn't long.
It wasn't that long. But to be fair, Trevon, if there's one thing Feige has made very clear, stop paying attention to time.
Can't do that.
He's very murky when it comes to that shit. He is very murky.
It's better than the X-Men timeline, at least.
It's way better than the X-Men
It's
timeline.
because I think like a lot of people get confused because like the 5 years. Like that,
Yeah, that
right. But what I'm saying is
during the blip and everything.
What I'm saying is more recently, Feige covered up the year on May's grave. Feige covered up the year in Hawkeye. So he's very much trying to not make that such an important thing we harp on. Like, yes,
but somebody's gonna focus on that anyway. So
100%, 100%.
Still tell time based on when Peter graduates
years later. Was it Homecoming?
Yeah, Feige.
Homecoming fucked it up. That's why.
Far From Home, last they said was 8 months after Endgame. By the way.
Right.
Oh, see. Yeah.
So it's solid.
Wait, No Way Home or Far From Home?
Far From Home, and then No Way Home. So No Way Home was probably a couple months after that.
No Way
right
Home
after
is during
It's right
Christmas,
after.
and Far From Home is during summer. So there's at least a few months in between.
No Way Home takes place a second after Far From
That's
Home.
what I'm saying. Yeah, it takes place a second after that movie.
Yeah, I guess that very first.
Yeah,
true. So it has to be like
it opens on Far From Home. That's how close they take together.
If Trayvon's
That's a
point,
very good point.
if Trayvon's point is it's been a year and some change, that's accurate. If your point is it's been more than like 2 or 3 years, no, it's been a year and some change, almost maybe 2 years. But all that tells you is that's just how long it took her to really get a hold on it.
It's a long book.
Yeah, no, not even that. It's just trying to perfect it, right? Trying to perfect it
and stuff. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
All right, T, I'm going to pass it over to you. What were your thoughts on this movie that you got to see early and you met the entire cast and you shook Kevin Feige's hand?
Oh, no, that didn't happen. I just got to see that. Don't hype me up that much. I wish I got to. I saw it early, but I have to echo what Trayvon was saying. I love this movie. I have to see it again. I've only seen it once, but I'm pretty sure once I see it again, this would be probably in my top 5. I loved it. I loved everything about it. Sure, some CGI problems. There were some moments in it that could have been, a little visually better. You could tell things were done in front of a green screen, but I loved the focus on, are you happy? That was really important. We have a character like Doctor Strange who's constantly egotistical, very standoffish, very, I know what's right, all that. And then and I loved all of the surmising everyone was doing. Oh, is he getting married to Christine? No, he has to see Christine get married and make accept that he can't be with her, but also he's an Avenger. He's been saving the world, but is he really happy? And I just love the focus on that, the way that ended too, where he asked Wong, are you happy? I love that because that's everything. That's the whole movie. At the end of it, when Wanda is confronted with her version in another world, she says they're happy here. And that is what makes her accepting that she doesn't need to be with her children because they're happy with their version of Wanda. And I loved that. I thought it was beautiful. I love that this movie did not waste any time. I love that from the second, like 5 minutes in, we were like, bam, let's go. I thought America Chavez was a great character. Again, Wong and Strange have this wonderful relationship with each other. I love seeing the multiverse. I thought that was very cool, obviously. Trying to comprise my thoughts here and everything. Visually, what'd you say?
I'll say it's pretty cool in 3D too. So.
See, I couldn't do that. That would have made me too nauseous. But either way, amazing. But I could see where if people like that, they would like it. I thought it was great. To me, I did love the plot of it. I thought it was a great continuation of WandaVision because she has this small moment in WandaVision where she has her paradise. That is all fake. That's all facade. So it makes sense that her whole little guru, I've put magic behind me thing is all fake as well. She is diving in. And is it not that she goes crazy in the comics after? So it's like, yes, from say like a story arc, I was a little sad to see her delve further into evil because this is a character who's never truly herself been happy. You know, she's not even getting her own happy ending, but it's almost like the bittersweet contrast to the whole message of the movie. Are you happy? I loved it. She's a badass. I was like, holy shit, go Wanda. The costume looked amazing. She was fierce and ferocious. And we have been saying since like, and at least if you're coming from it, not from a comic book stance, but you're coming from it just from a movie stance, because, you know, I'm a little ignorant by the comics. You know, I just know what I see in the MCU, but you see in Endgame, you know, you took everything from me. I don't even know who you are. You will. She almost killed fucking Thanos, you know? And so we've just been seeing, and even in WandaVision, her control of Westview. And it's like, this is probably the most powerful character. And I thought we really saw that on display in this movie, even Wong being scared of her, going, she will have the power to just control universes. I love that. And I stayed off Twitter. I am so tired of all these leaks. I mean, I want to go back to the day. I want to go back to the days when we were all like banded with each other at Endgame, and we were like, let's not spoil anything for each other, because now they want to spoil the whole fucking movie. I'm sorry to curse like that, but it's just ridiculous. So I stayed off Twitter. So when John Krasinski showed up, I lost my fucking mind. I was like, they did it. I was like, they did it. All the fan pictures, and there he is.
Yes.
They did it. Yes. They fucking did it. I didn't realize at first it was the same actor who played Black Bolt, because I think I was too like looking at the costume. It's like, that is a much better costume than Inhumans. And it's like, oh shit, it was actually
it's an actual costume. That's
no, I
know. It's an actual what we saw in the show.
Jacket.
Yeah, this is an actual costume. Yeah.
I texted that to Juwaan. I was like, wow, it was a much better costume. He said it's an actual costume. I'm like, okay,
it's just
yes,
an actual
you're right.
costume.
He had the mask and everything, the little fork and everything.
Right.
I thought
Love that.
I thought it looked great. And then when Patrick Stewart rolled out, I was like, holy crap. I had seen those rumors, but I thought like thankfully the Tom Cruise rumor wasn't real. So I thought like maybe that would have been the same, but that was cool. I love the panel. And I'm sorry, I loved seeing Wanda make absolute fucking Swiss cheese out of everyone. Because for me, when people are like, oh, they ruined this, you know, they had all these great things. This is the multiverse. You don't think they exist on 616? You got Benedict Cumberbatch playing Stephen Strange on every universe. You don't think John Krasinski is going to play the same character on every universe? Come on now. Sorry. That's like, you're going to see these characters again. Hopefully, fingers crossed. I loved it though. And the horror aspect, Wanda becoming the chick from The Grudge. I was like, holy shit. I thought it was I thought it was great to see a horror spin. I was genuinely scared at points. It had jump scares. It was creepy. It was unnerving. And I was like, to me, and the thing was, I walked out of, and I truly think that I see things differently sometimes than other viewers, because I did walk out of that theater and I heard one of the critics go, it's like Marvel does paint by numbers. And I'm like, please tell me any movie you saw that did anything in this freaking movie. I'm like, I must be watching something different. And that's fine. I'm happy with my happy lens. The only thing that I probably disliked about the movie, and it comes from this, and I'm sorry for ranting for so long. The only thing I probably disliked about the movie, and it was just from a storyline thing, is I mean, I was sad that Wanda, like crushed herself to death and everything, and I was like, oh no,
not to death, not to
I know.
death,
There's a
That's
red
like-
flag.
not to death.
There's
not
no
to
way
death.
she's
and that-
dead.
And
Oh, no.
Juwaan talked me off that ledge, but in that moment, as I was watching it, I was like, "Wow, she really never truly got her happy ending." And I was like,
let me be
this
let me
is
be
so
really
sad.
clear. Let me be really clear and not even take take that as like something I did. Like in every interview, she keeps saying like, yeah, when the X-Men come, I can't wait to be a part of that. When this happens, I can't wait to be a part of that. And it's like, that doesn't sound like somebody that's dead. That sounds like somebody that's hidden somewhere. You know what it sounds like? And I told Joel this when we did our podcast Monday. It sounds like the same way X-Men 2 ended, right? To where you're like, oh, Jean Grey's dead. Then you see the whole fucking Phoenix in the water and you're like, oh,
But
that
there
shit
was a
kicked
red
in.
blast.
Oh
when
my
that thing
God.
collapsed.
That shit kicked in. No, but I'm saying, right, Jayla, right. So the blast, I kind of feel like part of that Scarlet Witch that's still in her was just like, nope, not dying today. So I'm like, yeah, she's for sure still alive. She's for sure still alive.
I don't know. I
mean,
think
but
she's hanging out with Steve now. Wherever Steve Rogers is,
On the
I feel like
moon.
they're hanging
They're
out
on the
together
moon
now.
with Black
Yeah.
Bolt.
With
I mean,
Black Ball, yeah, it's
yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, for me, it's like I just wonder: is it going to be the 616 Wanda, or is it going to be like with the Loki series? Right? Yeah, we still have Loki, but it's not the 616. I mean, it's not
Oh
the current.
God, no,
It's
no,
not that
no,
Loki. Are we
no,
gonna have
no,
Don't do that.
just
no,
like
no, no, no?
I'm also
no.
wondering.
Can
if
I could-
it'll be all
If
right.
my
she's anytime
thoughts.
with his thumbs up. He's like, no, not again. Give
All
me
right,
more.
well, I'll pick this up. We have 2014 Gamora, not current Gamora. So
But
is it
that's
gonna
my
be the same-
point. To start to make it formulaic is when it becomes a problem. You know what I'm saying?
So I'm just wondering like what Wanda will see in the future. But either way, I'm just sitting there going like, oh, I was sad about it. And I was okay. At first, when I was watching the movie, I wasn't sure about Doctor Strange inhabiting his corpse. I was like, this is kind of like weird looking, but it's very Sam Raimi. But then when he like took flight and had that cape full of like
A demon cape.
souls,
No,
I was
no,
like,
no,
oh.
no, no.
Spirits.
Hold on, time out. As Benedict says in every interview, it is not a cape. Superman has a cape. It is a
it's
cloak.
a cloak.
It is
It's
a
a
cloak.
So as soon as Doctor Strange took off on his like undead cloak, I was like, I'm here for this. This is kind of badass.
And just so you know, T, I only say that because I just watched the whenever a movie comes out and they do all these different interviews, he was doing like a game with Elizabeth Olsen, right?
Mhm.
And she was saying, because they were saying like, who has the best outfit in the MCU, or costume rather. And she's like, I really like Doctor Strange's, like, from the cape. And he's like, stop. I don't have a cape. Superman has a cape. He's like, I have a cloak. And she did it. She did the exact same thing you did. She said, sorry, not a cape, a cloak. So now anytime I hear it, I'm like, Superman has a cape.
Like the hyphen?
Not what he has. Yeah. No, the hyphen to me doesn't matter. Anyway, let's get
Speaking of Doctor Strange's cloak, and just before we move on, it crushed me. Because the biggest complaint I have about MCU Vision is he doesn't have the collar.
Yeah.
So
Yes,
in Age of Ultron, he looks at Thor, constructs the cape. I thought in Infinity War he was going to get one look at Doctor Strange and get that little collar, but he never met Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
That is
That would have
true.
been
That is
so
true.
nice.
My biggest complaint about the MCU.
It's such a
Go
missed
on.
opportunity.
I'm with you there. I'm with you there.
Sad that you brought that to my attention. No.
Look,
Thanks.
maybe
Sorry.
when he gets his color scheme back, maybe he then looks at him and says, "Yeah, that's pretty fucking."
This color
Who
scheme.
knows?
I'm mad that you
So
mentioned
get rid of his,
the Dark Phoenix
human
because this
eyes.
movie's just Dark Phoenix.
Whoa, come on.
Whoa.
Redheaded mutant gets corrupted by ancient power and
She's
kills
not
Professor
a mutant.
Xavier.
Thank you very much.
Hey, hold on. To be fair, I can at
Mm.
least say, for whatever issues I have with this script, it is just far superior to any of the last two. Dark
You know what's
Phoenix
funny?
scripts
I said the same
Far
thing to Mike when he
superior.
told me that joke. I'm like, at least this one's good.
I'm like, even if you want to look at it that way, it's far superior than the other two versions.
At
of
least
the
we got
Dark
a good
Phoenix.
one.
Third time's the charm, right?
Hey, that's what they always say.
Nice.
That's what they always say.
I'm
Tia,
gonna
did you
move
wanna add
on.
anything else?
Well, I'm gonna move on from that comment and continue. The one thing I think I just wanted to, and it's like silly, doesn't even matter. I like in that moment when Wanda was saying how, you know, she lost everything, XYZ, while she was above what's it called again, where all the sorcerers were?
Karmitage.
Karmitage. I really wanted badly for Doctor Strange to kind of say something along the lines of like, we fought alongside each other, we defeated Thanos. Like, let's talk about this for a second. Like, I know we're not friends, but like we're semi-friends, right? You know, I came
friends.
to you.
If
We're like work friends.
If you're Wanda, there is nothing outside of Vision, if Cap and Tony come back alive, that an Avenger could say that would have any effect on Wanda, because they shitted on her at the end of Endgame. They were just like, man, Stark.
Hawkeye,
It was
maybe.
wait, hold on. What
Hawkeye
about?
is probably the
Hawkeye.
only person,
He's close
because
enough.
like, you think about it, that's that's kind of an issue with how big the Avengers roster has gotten, is that she's never interacted with Strange.
Wait, why is everyone forgetting Cap? Why is everyone talking about Stark? Stark literally wanted to ground her. Cap was the one who like really was on her side and everything.
I would say Hawkeye too, though.
Hawkeye too, but no one's suggesting like, hey, what if Steve Rogers there? Tony Stark, she wouldn't give a shit of Tony Stark. Like she'd be like, you're part of the problem.
To be fair, she should, because Stark was essentially telling her, what you're doing now is what I told you I feared you would do, that would paint you in the light of what you are today to people.
Well, as Wanda said to Vision in Civil War, I cannot control what they think of me. I can control my own perception of myself. I can control my own fear.
Look, when you tell somebody, hey, I will kill people to get my babies back and create a whole illusion to do so and put you in pain, I am pretty sure that you are forcing a narrative. They're not creating.
That's just called being a good mother.
Narrative. Look, I won't argue that.
Being a good mother.
She's a dedicated mother.
I don't know what it takes to be a good mom, so I won't argue that. I don't know what it takes.
She'd go along great with Mrs.
Neither does the Supreme Court. It's okay.
That was good. I like that. Did you want to add anything else to you?
No, other than I loved it. I like that little snippet at the end with Charlize Theron, hopping in as Cleo. I was like, okay. And then I loved that the end was just finally Bruce Campbell stopped hitting himself. That was wonderful.
Yeah. As I pass it to you, Jayla, I very much enjoy the idea of, as you were alluding to earlier, Strange finally letting go of Christine and wanting to move on. I do love that you end this movie with a future love interest coming into the picture, and it's like, well. But I will say, whoever directs Doctor Strange 3, I need you to look and hear me. I need you to look at a photo of Dormammu and give us that, right? Like look right into the image and say, all right, how can I translate that? Because he's not a bag of Skittles, okay? Regardless of what people think. Dormammu's not a bag of Skittles, okay? So I need to see the flaming head would be nice. So introducing his niece, maybe we can get an actual Dormammu.
You can't fight the sponsorship,
I mean,
ad placement. They had
can't. There's unfortunately a full generation that's like, that's exactly what Dormammu looks like. And it's like, oh no, God, no, fix it now. But Jayla, I pass it to you. You being vastly superior in all things Sam Raimi.
I wonder what makes you say that. Look, guys, this movie was made for me. I really can't stress that enough, how biased I am, because this movie was like perfectly crafted to my taste and just handed to me. I loved it. I absolutely adored this movie. Yes, it has flaws, but I love a lot of flawed movies. Honestly, I do. So nothing that I wish was done better took away from how much I enjoyed this. When Wanda was in the mirror dimension and she started she like reached out and touched it and it turned into water and they had like run around and like cover up the reflections, and there was like the slamming doors, which were pure Evil Dead. That was awesome. Her climbing through all grudge like the third act. Look, I'm going to go ahead and say it. Hot take. This third act is one of my favorite third acts in the MCU, point blank period. Everything from even the music note fight, which is a great throwback to how Steven's a music nerd. When he made a joke about charting in the 60s, that was him being a music nerd because the Fantastic Four was a band that charted in the 60s. So I love those little things that they bring back to his character and they keep alive in his character. But everything from who said he had to be alive to the end, I was 100% in. Oh my God, I was amazed. It was amazing. The souls of the damned and their voices were very Evil Dead, which was super, super cool. Christine fighting them with the things like go back to hell. That was super cool. I love the third act of this movie. I thought the scene with the Illuminati where Wanda sweeps the floor with them was awesome, particularly the shots of, oh, wait, hang on, I need to back up. We heard the 97 theme, which blew my mind. I was like, my poor dad, I was like slapping the crap out of his arm because I was like, oh my God. Because I didn't know, I knew we were gonna get Charles, but I didn't know I was gonna hear the theme, which was
and let's not forget the comic accurate waves when he's using his power.
Oh my God. And we got the hovercraft. We got the yellow hovercraft. It was amazing. It was beautiful. I adored that. And I want to give a shout out to the sound design in this too, because the WandaVision theme tune when Wanda was introduced was awesome. Side note, when she says the line that every night I had the same dream, every morning same nightmare, if you pay attention in the trailer, Strange says that. So that was a cool little bait and switch. It really hit me hard when she's having the dream with her kids and then she wakes up and it's basically gray. Like, it shows where she is at this state of going through losing her children. But no, I love this movie. I really did. I adored it. I hope Raimi comes back. I hope he gets to write Strange 3 because he brings so much character to Strange and he does such a good job with illustrating all the things I love of the character in the comics and bring it to life. I had a blast. I really did.
Yeah. If look, as much as I want him to do Strange 3, and I really do think if he writes it, I just feel. I think I would feel it a lot more than I did this.
Yeah,
I
I'm
just
pretty
want
sure
him to,
a Rick and Morty writer was one of the writers on this one.
Well,
Fun fact.
Michael Waldron, who did
Okay,
who did Loki. Sorry, not Wanda.
Why didn't they get a WandaVision writer for this? Is my question.
Say it again.
Why didn't they get a WandaVision writer for this?
I don't know.
It might have made me a little less frustrated with Wanda's character.
That was my only question. Because I completely
yeah.
look. I personally love the fact that they went all the way with Wanda being the villain, because they could have gone the age-old trope of she's a villain until the very end where she has to suddenly change and team up to fight the real bad guy. No. She was a villain. She murdered people. She was scary. She was like Gremlin running with bare feet on broken glass. She was terrifying.
And we haven't often gotten a female villain in the MCU aside for Thor Ragnarok. So it's like, it's almost refreshing. And I mean, again, correct me if I'm wrong, because if you guys are reading the comics, doesn't she become the villain in the comics?
Not really. No.
Doesn't she get rid of all the mutants? I mean, that's kind of like
but
villainy.
it's not in the most ill of intent. It's more so
kind
just
of like WandaVision, right?
Right. Yeah. It's just more so reactionary. But she's not like full gore villain.
She's like a slasher villain in this.
Right.
She's a straight up monster in this movie.
Jayla, the scene.
What's that?
I was gonna say, Jayla, the scene where Charles is in like her mind and he's trying to pull her out and everything, and I was sitting there, I was like, please do it, and then just
and he knows.
I was so sure that he was gonna pull her.
That shows how powerful she is.
Me too. I was scared.
Mentally overcome Professor X. That's a major thing. And did you guys catch like the dude like on the ground crying out in pain, trying to crawl away from her? That's another moment that was like, Jesus.
I'm sorry, that moment. No, the moment that shook me to my core is when she just whispered in Homeboy's ear.
When she just whispered "run,"
and then her smirk once he started to break it, and she
well
just was
shot
like,
too. The zoom in, how she just kind of like floats by. Oh God, I love.
Yeah, she definitely shredded her shit in that moment.
It definitely reminded me of Age of Ultron. Like Dom would have like probably loved that from Age of Ultron when she was like whispering in everyone's ear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It reminded me of WandaVision when she did it to Agatha, when she came behind her.
Yeah.
Grabbed her. So that's what
Tristan, I want to pass it to you. One of the things that I really liked, I know a lot of people theorize that Christine created them, and if that's the case, no problem. But part of me really loves the concept that Reed created the Ultron bots, and what I love most about it is Reed perfected what Tony couldn't, therefore implying and really doubling down on he is the smartest motherfucker in the MCU once he arrives, but in this this space, he is the smartest, right? So I very much love that. And then just the portal entrance was just like, all right, that was Reed very much just like, I'm the shit. Everybody else walked or was already sitting down. Reed's like, I got important shit to do. I was on a whole nother universe doing some shit. Let me portal in real quick. So I love Reed just kind of like, I'm the shit. Here I am. Like, you know what I'm saying? But Tristan, what were your thoughts on this movie? And how did you like seeing how the Illuminati was utilized?
So I really enjoyed the movie. I love the horror aspect added in. It was just something really different. We've never really seen an MCU film like this. So I thought it was really cool. Dang, I have a list of things that I'm looking at them. They're all complaints. So I kind of don't want to. Like I don't want to go through this list and have you. I'm like, dang, did you really enjoy the movie? Like I did. I really liked the movie.
To be fair, Tristan, me and Mike started the show that way, so you're completely fine. You're completely fine.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Okay, so first thing, like Doctor Strange, like they briefly talk about Westview, but the fact that he was just so kind of, he was like, yeah, I'm not here to talk about Westview. It's like, where were you? Like, I need an explanation for why you didn't intervene for that. So I really wish that we got,
I was bothered by that.
Yeah.
It bothered me too.
I'm not here to talk about Westview.
Why not? Why not?
Why? Exactly.
So she's not going to suffer for enslaving a whole town? Okay,
To be
whatever.
fair,
he can't do anything to her.
She was
but honestly,
means meeting in.
She's scared.
But not even that. To be fair, in that exact moment, I'm not talking about during the events of Westview. In that moment where he was talking to her, more
There's a
pressing
lot of shit
things were
going on.
happening. Yeah, more pressing things were happening.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm like, in that moment, I get that. But
In the
during
moment,
Westview,
but like Trayvon mentioned earlier, months have passed since then, right?
that's what
Yeah, she should have suffered like for consequences like before that. But
that's what I'm saying. I won't argue that. But
is
in
it
that
in his
moment,
realm? Because he's not Sorcerer Supreme, so.
Okay, so Wong should have showed up.
Yeah, literally.
Something.
Wong was busy with Abomination for some reason.
Right.
Wong was trying to get extra money or some shit. I don't know what he does.
Where is Shang-Chi?
I'm just saying. I
we
want
don't know
line
who
of.
talked to her about Westview. We haven't really picked up on who.
Nobody.
Trayvon, that was a crazy question. He went back home. He
No,
doesn't live there.
He brought him there. He said, "Welcome to the circus." So why aren't you in the circus?
He does not live in Carmitage.
I don't care.
Why would he still be there?
Shang-Chi is chilling in San Fran.
Like what? He went home.
I want to see the rings. I want to see the rings. Okay.
It's not his movie. What are we talking about right now?
I do want to say real quick that I was also bothered by the fact they didn't talk about Westview, but then I thought about like after I left the movie, because I think one of my biggest questions is like, do these Marvel shows actually matter to like actually understanding what's going on in the movies? And so I turned to my brother, who barely watches any forms of media at all, and I'm like, hey, did you understand like what was going on with Wanda? Like, does everything make sense to you? And he's like, yeah, I got it. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm not saying that like the way they presented the story didn't make it not make sense, but
I don't know. I've heard a lot of things like this is like the first time you'd have to actually like watch your Disney Plus show to know what's going on.
I don't think you have to watch it because it's very clear that Wanda's motivation is getting her kids back.
Right.
People didn't know where she got her kids from. That's the thing. You have to watch.
Yeah, they don't know where they came from. Or of course you'll see the two little boys and be like, oh, this must be your kids.
Yeah.
But like,
I feel like just seeing the dream is enough. You know, like, oh, she's dreaming of having children and she doesn't have any. So
I want to agree with Jayla. Yes, again, are all these things important? Yes, 100%. But I don't think if you miss WandaVision, it was confusing, right? So it was just like, oh, I don't know what's happening here. I don't think it was confused. Because again, when you bring up Westview and the very next line is, I'm not here for that. That's immediately going, well, essentially a lot of what you saw there kind of were pushing to the side. She's here for as long as you do that.
That's what I'm saying is the issue though.
Strange has a line in the movie where he says that like she made up her kids. Like
Right, yeah.
he says
Yeah,
it. So,
like
that's all
you
you
don't
more than
really
once.
need to watch
But I
does
WandaVision
say
to
that.
understand
He
what
does
was
say that.
happening.
So does Wong. Wong says it to her too.
So I guess
If you
my
didn't watch WandaVision, like you would think her newfound power has come from the Darkhold. Like that's the only thing I didn't.
That's true.
I think
I
like
feel
if I
Yeah.
hadn't seen
not
WandaVision,
saying
I'd be
anything.
much more accepting of this storyline where, and I'll probably talk about this in my review a little bit more, but I think I would be much more accepting of the story of like, oh, she's angry, she wants to get her kids, and she'll do anything to get there. Because I feel like that's kind of what I saw in WandaVision. At least that's what I took away from it. So
Yeah,
I'm gonna
Mike, you were
rewatch
alluding to that.
WandaVision soon
Yeah.
and see if I pick up on anything or like if it like changes.
Yeah, Mike, you were alluding to it could be looked at as somewhat of a carbon copy of what we just saw.
So that's
It's-
literally exactly how I feel. It's literally the same exact arc she had in WandaVision,
It's-
and like she didn't learn anything except for like she just like was more like vengeful than
Well,
before.
she was willing to kill here, so
So-
Yeah, that's what I
She
mean.
needed
So
to
it's
take
like
it up
she
a
didn't
notch.
learn anything. It's just she just got worse. So
So
I'm like,
that's-
and I'm like, I know
that's
she's
why
the
that's
villain
my
now,
big
but it's
concern.
like even before that though, she wasn't a villain. And like I know some people are like, oh, the Darkhold, but she was like that beforehand. You saw it with Westview, so it's like that's not really that big of like excuse. And
She
like
wasn't evil in Westview though. That was a mistake.
She
at first.
was
But
in
then
like
she
she was
kept it
literally
going.
she had no idea what she was doing, and
At
now
first, yeah.
she does have control, and she is getting basically drunk off control, and
For all
in
we
the
know-
pursuit of getting her kids back.
Yeah,
For all
but
we know,
go
like
ahead.
after
No, go
I
ahead,
was gonna
Didge. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, for all we know, after the events of WandaVision, we know she's still grieving, and for all we know, now she knows that I have the power that I can make that change. Like we said, Westview was something that she didn't know what she was doing. Now she's like, I can make this change. I can have the life that I'm supposed to have, and she's still going through that grief. Yes, everybody says all the time at some point in grief that. And this is it. But grief, like Jayla said earlier, it's more of a circle than anything. It's not
Right.
necessarily a one-way street.
I mean,
So-
this is a stretch. Go ahead. Sorry, Didge. Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. It's just I think it was more so that where I think it was sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy of her grief causing her to want to do anything, the Darkhold giving her the way that she can do anything, and it poisoning her mind again to where she's just more apt to like anything really means anything.
It's pretty much
Whereas
a
it
relapse.
wasn't.
that's fair, but I think it
And-
would have been more effective had the events of WandaVision maybe been a little bit different. I don't know.
Right.
At least for me.
I mean, for
That's
all
fair.
we know, that she could have seen something happen in the multiverse within the events of Far From Home, and realize that multiverses exist, that other versions of us exist, and that caused her to go down a hole and realize that, oh my god.
she saw
can't
the
get enough
Spider-Man
of
villains in the sky.
Or something. I mean, it's a long shot, but I mean, at the end of WandaVision, we heard her. We saw her hear her kids, and that could have been a trigger to relapse on her grieving process, because that's kind of how grief works.
Before
One thought for me- okay.
go ahead, Trevon.
Also, one thought I had like at the end of WandaVision when she did that to Agatha, it kept Agatha that way after the hex was taken down. At least is what she said. You're gonna stay like this. I was like, so you know that you can warp reality outside of the hex now. So she knew her power level right then. But I think that the Darkhold just corrupted her. But I also thought to myself, okay, if she knows she can do that, why didn't she just create the kids again? Like I just,
Yeah.
that was one thought I did have. I'm not gonna say I didn't have that thought. Like, why don't you just do it again?
Before I pass it back to Tristan, did you want to add something, Mike?
Yeah, so it's more of a question I want to throw to you guys right quick. Wanda says in every reality she does have her children, Billy and Tommy. Why is that? What makes her like this anomaly where she doesn't have her kids? That's
a
the
good
thing
question.
to me that was kind of strange.
I took it more so as the reason why she didn't have it here is, again, to me, I'm hoping this is the case, but in all other realities, her actual origin of getting kids is how she has the kids everywhere else. Mephisto, they're shards. They're just shards of Mephisto that manifest themselves to actually being her children. That's how she has them. Here is the only place where there is no Mephisto. So there is no shards. It was completely just an imagination,
You
right?
think you could come get her now and give them to her now?
Well, we have to talk
No,
about
you
Marvel
can't
and not
double
bring
down
up
on
Mephisto
that.
again.
No,
Good.
you can't backtrack on that. Now Mephisto
Could
has to
offer
just
her a
purely
wish
be
now.
no.
One more
nope,
day, but with
nope,
Wanda.
Nope,
Nice.
nope. You had 2 times back to back to use them, and you didn't. So now give them to the Midnight Suns or don't use them at all. That's it. Do not backtrack. No need to. But in my opinion, I think that might be what it is. I did appreciate seeing, or not seeing, but hearing the name Chthon. That was very awesome. You know, like, all right, some aspects of this is, you know, all right. But Tristan, what else do you got?
America Chavez, her characterization, I really wasn't feeling it. Like, so my introduction to that character was Young Avengers Volume 3, which was written by, I think his name is Kieran Gillen or Gill. Anyway, like, she's such a badass in that volume. Like, that was my first introduction to the character. So that's very much who she is. And, you know, this version, I mean, she can obviously grow into that, but I was just kind of like, I didn't really care for this, how she was written in this story. I feel like had she been maybe a little sassier, a little more rebellious, then I'm like, okay, I can see the seeds for that of, you know, I can see her growing into the America Chavez from the comic. But this version, I was just kind of like, I couldn't, she didn't really match up with the version I was used to, which she doesn't have to, just a movie adaptation. But yeah, I just really didn't like how she was portrayed in this one. I like her powers. I thought her powers were cool. It's just the character herself. Didn't really care for it. Another thing is, and y'all probably disagree with this, I felt like there wasn't enough multiverse in Multiverse of Madness. Like, I wanted to see more worlds. So
yeah, we got about 3.
Wait,
Mm-hmm. Oh, you said there were like 3.
Yeah. So
we had that montage where they were going through a bunch of them, guys.
Yeah, where they stopped at, you know.
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. Okay, so they're going through the multiverse. At this point, America doesn't have control of her powers, and it's like, okay, we're going through the multiverse, and then we just so happen to land in this world with the Illuminati, and that's exactly who we need to be dealing with right now. I was just kind of like, really, you land exactly where you need to be? Like, that brings up another issue.
Well, Strange does comment on it. Yeah, he does comment on it.
He says that
like,
she was,
you
like,
can kind of
subconsciously doing
control it, sort of.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he did say that.
Yeah,
He
he's
did.
like, you can kind of control it because you've been taking us wherever we need to be. Like,
Where
even
we
though,
absolutely need to be. Oh.
Okay.
So I'm glad you mentioned that, though, like, not go into enough Earths or different universes, because when I hear the title Multiverse of Madness, I'm not a huge Marvel guy, I'm more of a DC guy, but when I think of alternate universes, I think of Flashpoint, right? I think of Earth 1. Earth's vastly different from our own, and Earth 838 is the one we spend the most time on, and the biggest difference is pizza is shaped slightly differently.
Well, I mean, there were a few more things. There's no Avengers. There's no Avengers.
No.
So there were a few.
She said she's the first Avenger. So there are Avengers. She said the first.
Oh yeah, she did say she was the first Avenger.
It didn't say
Captain
I
Carter.
have to imagine, though, that either the other Avengers aren't alive, or
I feel like they are, though, because
No, I
the
thought
Illuminati
the
exists separate from the Avengers, so they're probably still there.
Yeah, I thought this was the point.
They must just not be. They must
leader
just
of
not
each
be
group,
as
right?
important, because remember they showed the Avengers as the Illuminati as the one taking care of Strange. So they clearly aren't as important then.
Right.
And the whole look, like another thing I caught on is that no one wore color. Everyone was wearing gray and monotone, like different shades of gray. No one was wearing color at all. That was another thing I picked up on. There's other like tiny things.
Really? I did not pick up on that.
Yeah, when
go back to
Odyssey, where they're walking through the city and there's no color at all.
I did not pick up on that.
Everything else is beautiful. Everything else is beautiful.
I told Joel as I pass it back to you, Tristan. I told Joel one of the other things that I caught that I really enjoyed is in that Earth, red is good and green essentially is bad, which was like a mirror reflection to like maybe Wanda is right, maybe Strange is in the wrong, you know? So I appreciated that a lot because I was like, that is weird. Whenever you see green, you just instinctively go, good, go. And then red comes, you're like, I'm going to stop. I'll get hit by a car, right? So it's like they land here and it's just like, Strange is like, what the fuck? And she's like, you always got to know the rules of wherever you go. And he's like, I don't travel. Like, I don't know this.
And we love saying Pizza Papa.
Yeah, Pizza Papa. Love Pizza Papa.
Pizza Papa.
Yes. Pizza Papa.
What else do you got, Tristan?
Okay, my final thing was Mordo. Like, am I saying his name right? Mordo?
Mordo.
Yeah, Mordo.
Just call him
Carl Mordo.
Carl Mordo. Like,
Just call him Carl.
So what really annoyed me about that character, like, I wasn't annoyed with the variant we met, I'm just like, okay, so when we last saw the original guy from 616 in 2016, he was going around taking Sorcerer's powers. Where the hell is he right now? And wouldn't Wanda, being as powerful as she is, I feel like it would have been a great plot line for him to come back and maybe team up with Wong to like try to take down Wanda. And I felt like it would have been perfect for him to kind of plant the seeds in Wong's head, like, hey, Stephen Strange is the issue. Like, you're the Sorcerer Supreme. We're dealing with Wanda right now. Tomorrow it's going to be Stephen Strange. I feel like that was kind of the perfect way to set up sort of descent in the Wong Stephen Strange friendship, because it's coming. I really do feel like that's going to eventually happen. So I feel like it was a perfect time to bring Mordo back in. I feel like he would go after Wanda and he would team up with Wong to do it. So I was kind of annoyed that we don't know where he is right now.
I'm with you. It's what I talked to Joel about. But the only reason I can let it slide is as long as he has a significant role in Doctor Strange 3, where he kind of is just like, see this? Look at all this. Look at all this. Fucking told you. Look at this. Yeah. A wizard everywhere. Look at this. Look at this shit.
Can they give him a better wig next time?
I don't even need him to have that look. Like, he had it there.
Can they please give him a better one next time?
I think he had it to say this is what he looks like on this earth.
Look, it's the same. It's the same wig. It's the same wig Shamar Moore wears all the time.
It did look like that.
It's the same one Shamar Moore be wearing.
He probably took it off and handed it right to him.
Yeah, he did. He did. If they were doing any filming in Atlanta, he was a pass off for sure. But as long as he has a significant role in Doctor Strange 3, I'll be fine. But if he has a small role there, it's just like, well, Baron Mordo's not a character we look to see anywhere else but Doctor Strange. So, like, how do you just ignore him for 2 full movies, essentially? Our version. Not the character as a whole, but our version of that character.
That kind of bounces back to what I was saying earlier, though, right? Where I feel like making this a multiversal movie kind of hurt the story in some aspects, because imagine if our Mordo is the one who has to team up with Doctor Strange to stop Wanda.
That would be really interesting.
Imagine if the 616 Illuminati reveals themselves to Strange because they've been lurking in the shadows the entire time, and then they step in to help out against Wanda. It's story beats like that where I'm sitting here like, if you're not going to go all the way with the multiverse stuff, you probably shouldn't have done it at all.
Wait, you're saying if the Illuminati was on 616?
Like their version of the Illuminati.
That wouldn't have worked. That would have created more, because that would have been you telling me Inhumans have always been here, mutants have always been here, and the Fantastic Four have always been here. Those should be questions that are answered in their own individual movies. If you just tell me they've been here the whole time, my argument to that would be too much shit has happened. Right, too much shit has happened.
Well, I mean, there was 5 years where we don't know what happened. They could have formed then, for all we know.
Actually,
I feel as though
theory
that's
of how
too neat.
Fantastic Four will be introduced.
That's too neat. The Fantastic Four I can accept, because you can always say that Reed and them were doing shit on different universes. You know what I'm saying? Because that's Reed's whole gimmick.
We'll get to that later.
I can accept that, but
story for another time.
And Inhumans?
Story for another time. I do have a little theory that I like, that I hope they kind of go for.
All right. Tristan, you got anything else before I pass it on?
No. I didn't like that America Chavez is now with she's training to be a sorcerer now.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm like, wait, what are we gonna do with that? I think you guys already mentioned that earlier. So I'm like, I don't want her to learn magic. Like, I like her powers as they are, unless her magic she ends up learning to fly, because I know that's one of her powers in the comic. But that's the final thing. Wait, do we feel some kind of way? Oh, okay, I was gonna say, do we feel some kind of way about her flying?
I want it.
Some of us do. Some of us do.
Didn't know that.
Every time we talk about Marvel, it's flying and Mephisto. Every single time.
I want to be very clear. I don't have a problem with flying.
I
have a problem that Trevon believes anyone that breathes should be flying. That is my issue.
No.
Flying is way
more complex
than
that.
I won't until Reed Richard flies.
No. If
Flying
I've
is one of the
seen
coolest
it
powers, though.
before, if I've seen them fly in something, in a cartoon something, I expect their character to do that eventually. I expect it.
Okay? I know.
Yes. I don't just make it up out of nowhere. Everybody should fly.
He has his standards. Okay.
So when they introduce Red Hood, you want him to be able to jump off of souls or whatever.
Oh my god.
Well.
Oh my god.
Anyway, Kristen, was that everything you had? Okay. I want to move on to Jamie. What were your thoughts on this movie?
I thought it was all right. I liked it better than the first Doctor Strange, which to Tia's point, saying like, sometimes give it a little bit of time, rewatch it and see how you feel. I did rewatch it and I was still pretty bored with it. So I guess the bar was kind of low as far as like being better than the first one for me. I did enjoy it. There were some pretty cool moments, but as far as like story wise, I feel like we were stuck in one place for a really long amount of time, and then we kind of just like everything started rushing towards the end to like try and find that resolution, which was a little bit similar to how I felt about Doctor Strange 1, where it seemed like things were kind of just like stuck and he was in Carmitage, like learning how to do all the stuff and learning everything while things were happening in the background. Then all of a sudden the background was in the foreground. It's like, okay, we have to address this. And I don't know. I don't necessarily know why the Doctor Strange movies have been approached like that, but for me, it doesn't necessarily work story wise. And I'm like, even if I'm not super connected to the character, I feel like the story is what I'm mainly looking forward to. And this, it was good. I can revisit it and not be like, oh man, like I'm not gonna have fun doing this, but it's not going to be my favorite Marvel movie, and not everything is, so that's fine. I feel like the biggest question though I came out of this with, so in WandaVision we established that Wanda was a Nexus being, and I thought that meant that there was only one of her in every single universe. Like she is the only one. There are no other versions of her. But then we watched this movie.
Yeah,
and
where they got murky is a Nexus level being is supposed to mean that you're so powerful you can walk through different dimensions, right? And then this movie comes out and everyone essentially can walk through multiple dimensions. So then it became like, well huh?
They made
so now
America
it's just
Chavez,
a power
what
level.
you just said.
Yeah, like that's what.
That's what we thought.
Yeah, that's why I was
It was
confused. 'Cause I'm like, wait, I thought there was only one of Wanda, so why is there other versions of her with like children? And then there's America Chavez, who there is only one of her in every single universe. So
maybe one Scarlet Witch.
That's the one thing I had heard was that there's multiple Wandas, but she's the only one that really has the power of the Scarlet Witch.
Maybe.
I can live with that.
That would make more sense to me. But I have a couple other things. I know we talked about a lot, so I'll keep my points down to like just the things that stood out to me. One of them being like the music note fights thing. I'm like, I know Disney was trying to get Kingdom Hearts into a lot of their other properties, but this was too much.
I love the music fight.
Like a couple.
No, that was good.
Okay, that was creative, but then they started throwing whole songs at each other.
Which
like,
I
all
thought
right,
that was amazing.
like, what are we doing right now?
That was good. No, that was really good.
No,
you loved it.
They were
when
like,
hit the
here's a
heart.
sheet music that I'm going to throw at you.
Like I did not expect them to
I
throw the whole sheet. I thought it was like
visually
a
liked it. I visually liked it. I think if I had any complaints, it would be the songs that they picked. Like I would have chose a few different songs, but visually it was very pleasing. Like
Visually it was
very
cool. It
it's very out of the
while.
It all made sense to me. I liked it a lot.
I was a fan of it too.
With music.
It's
I like
fun.
that. I just think it went on for a little bit too long. It really made me think like Kingdom Hearts. Like, is somebody gonna say dance, water, dance? Like, where are we going with this? But the next thing, which I feel like was my biggest thing after leaving, after leaving the theater, I was thinking like, oh my god, like at the end, Wanda scares like I forget what version of it, the 818. Was that? Yeah, she scares the 838 version of her kids. I'm like, okay, well, she can just move on to the next universe. They don't know. They don't know what happened. Like, just move on to the next. If she's really that determined and she's like, I want my kids, you traumatized.
I actually love that they did that though.
It was more so just to prove a point.
Like she's she's turning into the thing that she didn't want to be.
Yeah.
See, I would have been okay with that had I not seen WandaVision. But now that I've seen WandaVision, and then it seemed like she was spiraling down this path again, and it's like,
Well, I think it was supposed to also prove was like, this is like, she wasn't going to stop until she literally like, because they were talking about, it was like, I think America Chavez said it, was like, oh, what about your kids? She's like, oh, they won't know. It was like, they needed to see it or else she wasn't going to realize how bad she's
That's what
like
I'm
gone.
saying. those kids know, not all the other
Not every
universes.
kid
She'll
in every
always
universe.
know.
No, it doesn't matter because she wanted those. That was the first
I-
universe she went to, so she
Why
wanted those to be.
specific
For
kids?
me-
If they're all
You
the
saw what
same
she did to that Wanda. She went.
For me,
Like-
it was what America said to her earlier.
that
Like, no
woman
matter
through hell.
what, you'll know. Like, she'll always know. She'll always understand that, and that's something that she couldn't live with.
Well, like even Wong kind of kept saying to her was like, isn't it like enough? Like, doesn't it bring you comfort enough to know that they're
Yeah.
like still loved in other universe? And she's like, no. And then like when Wanda like from that universe approached her, she was like, just know that they'll be loved or whatever. And like she hearing it from herself. Okay, now she accepts it, but like she needed that, which I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm actually. I think I would have been even more pissed if they didn't do that because like I wasn't crazy about her arc, but like seeing that I was like, okay, that needed to be done.
It did. I don't know. It just like if I was put myself in Wanda's shoes, where we're off the deep end. We're just trying to kidnap some kids, I like our kids from a different universe, but still
That's a
like,
sound clip.
some we're just trying to kidnap some kids. We're just trying to kidnap some kids.
I'm telling you right now,
I
for
wonder
every
what she was gonna do to Wanda at that universe, though.
for every show that Jamie does, that's gonna be the introduction. Hi, I'm Jamie, and we just out here trying to kidnap some kids.
Just vibing.
Like,
I mean-
oh no, not even just kidnap them, kill them.
I don't know. Like I if I was like determined, I'm like, you know what? I don't know. We just pick, draw a straw. This is the universe I go to. We're taking these kids. All this doesn't work out. Draw a new straw. I'm going over there now. Like I'm getting my kids. Like it don't matter. I'm learning from my mistakes
Now-
so that I will perfect this plan and I will end up with some children at the end of this damn movie.
Well,
I do
finally,
wanna-
Wanda's dead.
But time out. Hold on, Trayvon. I do want to throw
I don't-
something in. I do
I
want to
don't-
throw something in, Trayvon, to back what you were saying earlier, because I legit just remembered this. So I know I've been saying like, oh my god, like the motivations of Wanda doesn't make sense from WandaVision to this movie. I forgot one very important detail. The movie, the show ends with Tommy and Billy screaming for her. So in her mind,
That's what they said.
aren't
Oh
safe.
my god.
They aren't safe, so she's not gonna stop till she finds them. So if that never happened, sure, then I could say it doesn't make any sense. But if you end the show with them screaming, she now doesn't want to stop till she finds them and sees that they're okay.
I forgot they were
But,
specifically
like,
screaming.
that
Let's
was a
That's
find the
good
kids
point.
that are like look like they're scared or in danger. Not
See,
the
like,
kids that are
yes.
Mom, let's watch movies.
It was
Like,
more
this
of
is
a
so fun."
trigger.
Yeah, it was a trigger. And to her, Jamie, she knows the power she has. So it's like, could this Wanda be faking the funk? And maybe they're really in trouble. And it wasn't until she could see it for what
Are
it
you
really
saying
was.
so? Like, are you saying like the
She was like, okay.
scream kind of like triggered her into like? So you
Protective
think that?
mode, or...
No, if
Yes.
Yeah.
if the kids didn't scream, do you think she wouldn't have gone on like the rampage to try to get them back again?
No, I think she would have
Okay.
tried to find alternative ways, but I don't think she would have gotten bloodthirsty.
Because she was
Because-
desperate. She
And
was,
the
she was
thing
very
was
I don't know if I agree with that.
She wanted to
Yeah.
I
take
feel like the
power.
movie still doesn't set that up properly. If that's
No,
the case.
yeah, if
I
that's the
wanna-
case, that's
I
definitely
won't
not
argue
it because
that.
it's
I
just
won't
like
argue that, but those
no,
kids
because it's
screaming
saying
is
that
very
she
important.
got the like basically from what like if you want to like talk about like the dark hole corrupting her, it was like they probably like showed her this reality where she could have them, and she's like, okay, I gotta do what I can. Like,
Well,
and
that
she
makes it
was like
worse.
willing to do
I will
anything.
say-
She was willing to kill. I just
All right, Jayla.
I
Go ahead,
will
Jayla.
say that she was talking to Wong about her plan because her plan wasn't just to go to that universe. Her plan was to take the power so she can forever protect her kids from any sickness, any injury, any
Mhm.
issue. It was all about the protection and making sure that they're forever always safe. So safety and the mama bear attitude makes sense when you add that.
yeah, I think it was like why that kind of doesn't make sense too is because like even when she went to that universe, like they had a Wanda like taking care of them.
But it's not
you know
her,
what I mean?
and she doesn't know what's
Yeah.
going on because her kids were like in the pretty wacky situation, to be fair. So she doesn't understand, and if nothing else, it doesn't matter because it's not her. She doesn't have eyes on them. She doesn't
And-
have hands on them.
And also remember this: Wanda does say something in WandaVision that helps to what Trayvon was saying. When she first went outside of the bubble, and was talking to the CIA, whatever the hell they were, and they kept trying to tell her, Wanda, this isn't real. Like what you're doing is crazy. None of this is real. In her mind, it was so ingratiated that she just assumed they were lying. Right? She assumed they were lying. Her truth was everything in this bubble is real. So
It
if
was
you
her
take
reality.
Right. So if you take that mindset, all right, Mike. Thank you for joining us, brother.
Bye,
Yeah.
Mike.
We appreciate
Yeah.
you, Mike.
It's fun talking, guys. See you later.
Absolutely. So if you take that, right, and how in her mind all this was reality, hearing the children scream for her, in her mind, she's not thinking logically at that point. She's thinking they're in trouble. I'll do whatever it takes to keep them safe.
And they could be
get them.
putting on a happy face in front of the real danger. Like, you know.
Now, I won't argue that the Darkhold is very much the Palpatine of this universe, to where it was just
Yes,
like, hey,
I will
you want
agree
your
with that.
kids? Let's do whatever it takes to get your
Do it.
kids.
Yeah, because I was like, I really don't disagree. If that's the case, like, I don't agree with that because, like, yeah, without you saying that, like, no, I wouldn't have thought that at all.
I guess from my perspective, and I'll like my last little note on her development, all that is like knowing how, you know, like a mother will do anything for her child. I know it's cliche to say, but like I know that like so many moms will go at nothing if they even know that there's a slight possibility that something's on, they will not stop. And to lose her kids, to lose Vision, to lose her brother, to lose this reality dream life that she had, that she built, that she didn't even realize that she built, is a lot. And like I said earlier, that, you know, grief isn't straightforward. And yeah, there's a lot of gray areas that they didn't fill in for us, but it's not unbelievable that a woman that is broken this entire time, she's broken inside, whether it's the Darkhold corrupting that brokenness or not, she's a broken person, she's hurting, will go at all ends to get some kind of grasp of what she had back, that she dreams about every single night and wakes up to nothing every single day. It's not unbelievable for me.
I will say that. I think maybe if they emphasize like the fact that she was still grieving a bit more in the movie,
Yeah.
I would have pulled that storyline through, because like we start off, I think one of the first things we see of her as like, you know, or like, I think one of the first things she says to either Strange or Wong is like, you know, every night I go to sleep, I dream of my children. Every day I wake up to this nightmare. And so I'm not really getting the whole like grief situation in that. Not even like she was feeling like, you know, I had this once and I lost it and now I want to get it back. It's like I see like there's these kids are out here and I can reach them, so I'm gonna do whatever it is necessary to do that.
Right. See, for me,
Yeah.
the thing that
No, that's exactly how I
not
see it,
only
too.
was the waking up to a nightmare every morning was a sign of grief, but literally her dreaming of having the kids and waking up and everything was bleak and the colors were toned down as a sign of depression was
But yeah, it was like her also being vengeful and going like willing to
I
kill
mean,
like anything and anyone
For
to like
good.
keep her from her
I'll
kids.
say this to Sabrina and Jamie's point. Could they have conveyed it better? I don't think any of us disagree on that.
Right.
But it does make a little bit more sense when you remember certain conversations and literally the last line of the last scene of WandaVision of the children yelling. I mean, screaming rather. For her, like they weren't just like mom, they were screaming for her.
See, again,
so
like
that's her
I'm gonna be honest with you, Juwaan. If you didn't just say that, and I would have been like, I wouldn't have taken that and be like, oh, that's why she's on, because like, you know, they don't really like, I don't know, they don't really like touch upon that.
They
so
don't
I'm
convey
like,
it well.
I
Yeah.
think,
No,
I
so,
think
like-
maybe if she
yeah,
had gone
if that's
for,
something
like,
that's like if you didn't point it out, like we wouldn't have probably like thought about that at all. Because like I
They
was
could
not
have-
thinking that at all.
They could have had that as a line to where as she's sticking her hands out and they're disappearing, that she hears it again. And it's like, oh,
See,
shit,
that would have made more sense,
Yeah,
but like
yeah,
it was just
it
like
sounds
to
like
go
that,
based
yeah.
off of that. It was like, oh, that's why. Like, no, it's just because like she got this book and realized her power, and she's like, oh, I could.
I mean,
and then
she
like,
didn't end WandaVision in a good place necessarily.
that's also very true.
Like she didn't end in a happy, healed place at all. She was not okay when WandaVision ended. She realized what she did, but I think that pushed her down further into being broken and hurt and
I
confused.
mean, look, we see grief in the MCU completely differently, right? Like Thor just went full bore into ice cream, and Wanda was just like, "I'm gonna kill some motherfuckers," right? So it's just like it's two different spectrums of grief. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Usually we try to
yes, but like one didn't hurt, you know, people and like willing to kill anybody for it.
I mean,
so it's
yeah,
like,
but like
That's
it's
just
not
how
an
Thor
excuse,
handled
it's
it.
just how
But
she handled it. Her reaction.
Also, Sabrina, the difference is at the moment Thor thought Thanos was dead, so he had really exorcised that demon, right?
He really didn't exercise.
But he didn't know that at the time. He didn't know that at the time.
Oh, God.
He thought he had exercised it. So if you're
there's
Wanda,
a lot of villains that are born from grief and their reaction to it, and there's a lot of heroes that are born from grief and their reaction to it. It's just how what they're going through, how they're processing, and how they react to it.
We saw Stark process his grief in a way that I'm sure he looks back on and would have changed a few things. He was willing to kill Cap and Bucky in that moment. Like, fuck both of y'all.
And honestly,
so we've seen it.
I'm really glad they didn't just make her just cry the entire time. I really appreciate and admire that she showed her grief in a different way, because anger is one of the processes, one of the stages of grief, and people do show it. People do get resentful. People do get angry. They change sometimes, and it's refreshing almost to see someone especially a character that's a woman, not just go, oh, she's grieving, she's crying, she's crying, she's a mess, she's over there, she's doing something else.
Right.
And
I will agree with
universes.
You. I feel like
ahead, Jamie.
Just for me, from like a storytelling perspective, if they had made that much more clear, then I feel like a lot of the issues that I have with her arc would have been cleared up. So
it just like 5 more lines.
It's just speculation at this point. Well, like it's educated speculation, but I feel like it's still a bit of speculation.
That's completely fair. It needed like 5 more lines, just like even 5 more lines just thrown in, a few more moments, and it would have woven in more, I believe. But I thought it was very interesting and very bold of them to go ahead and they committed to it. They didn't halfway did it. They're like, this is what it happened and we're going to stick with this, which was very cool to see.
Shout out to the comment section. They were asking, is there anyone in Marvel on Scarlet Witch's level? She was OP as hell. So if you're talking Marvel as a whole, not just the MCU, millions. There are millions of characters that could be right there with Scarlet Witch, but in the MCU,
for example.
Yes. And look, Jean Grey. Jean Grey is right there, and you can make a case that Jean Grey, just as Jean Grey, is as powerful as a Scarlet Witch, and then becoming Phoenix gives that amplified boost.
Reality powers.
Yes, the Phoenix can warp reality also.
The Phoenix can warp a lot.
That's what I'm saying. Again, Trevon, you're thinking MCU, and in the MCU, the answer to that question is no. In Marvel Comics, there is a laundry list of people that could watch Wanda. Worldbreaker Hulk is one that could.
Oh my god!
Watch Wanda.
I still hope we see him one day.
I don't think they'll ever go that.
That's my one pet peeve. Powerful. Completely off topic. One of my biggest pet peeves about Hulk is no one ever gets the point. Like the angrier he gets, the stronger he gets.
Right.
And I just
don't think anybody gets Hulk these days, honestly.
I agree. Look, Hulk. Trayvon, you thought Wanda taking Black Bolt's mouth away, right? Was like the dopest thing. Hulk landed on the moon, saw Black Bolt, and Black Bolt whispered, right? Because even a whisper is powerful. Hulk said, I didn't come here to hear you whisper. I came here to hear you scream. And he proceeded to beat the dog shit out of Black Bolt. And that was before he actually became Worldbreaker Hulk. So for me, it was just the idea of, yes, we have not seen that version of Hulk. I don't think we ever will, because version of Hulk had to be, because here's the thing, that version of Hulk had to be defeated by Marvel's version of Jesus, essentially. I don't think we'll ever
just
see
like
that. I don't
shoot
think
in
we'll
the deep
ever see
space.
that.
It's fine.
What's that character name? The Jesus
Sentry.
Sentry.
Yeah, I believe it was Sentry. Was it Sentry? Was it Sentry?
I don't remember. Don't ask me. I just
know Sentry who did what?
And I like him.
It was I think it was Sentry. I'm tripping. Maybe it was. I could be wrong.
It was Jesus.
It was Jesus. That was the multi-version.
It was Squirrel Girl. She redeemed herself from Thanos.
Hey, people sleep on Squirrel Girl, but she almost beat Thanos' ass.
She almost beat Thanos' ass.
Personally. Squirrel Girl, I'm with you there.
Nobody ever talked about Dr. Doom.
No, they did in the comment section. They were like, "Doesn't
Did
Doctor Doom
they?
become a god?"
Can we
I'm like,
wait
yeah,
a
he became a
second?
god.
I have
God
to
Doom,
mention
yeah.
this line. I want everyone to just take a moment. And the line where she was like, "Good, someone will be left to raise them." I was
Oh my god,
oh,
that was savage. I
I
did
was
like
like,
that.
oh no, she's serious.
But
And
That
then-
I'm
was
glad-
so stupid of him to answer that
what was
question.
funny was
Yeah.
my favorite kind of
Oh
laugh.
shoot! Hold on. Time out. We're talking about in the Marvel universe. In the MCU, Franklin Richards would wash Wanda. I completely
True.
forgot.
You're
Franklin
not
Richards
wong.
would beat. I mean,
Nah, the
literally
last
beat
tweets
her
I saw
like a-
about that was like, oh, when he finds out, he's gonna wipe the floor.
Franklin
Well,
Richards is stupid OP. I mean OP to levels incomprehensible.
My only
Yeah.
answer with that,
It's
has he been
Franklin.
officially? He hasn't officially, I guess, been well, I guess in a way, yes.
He said I have. He said my kids.
Yeah, that's why I said I guess in a way, yes.
Yeah. For sure.
I'm
Yeah,
glad
Franklin was dumb strong, and Franklin's power set is so weird because when you see it, you're just like, your mom just goes invisible, and your dad's stretchy. Where the fuck did you
Genetics.
get all of this? Like who came in and put some droppings in your DNA,
Right.
DNA pool? Like,
That's
a
where did all
good
this
point. I
come
never-
from?
Yeah.
His powers have always confused me. I'm
Yeah,
no
he's
doubt.
very confused.
Well, I'm
Then
not
you
gonna
see his
question
sister,
him
and you're
about
just
it.
like,
So
I'm not familiar with this
Um,
character, so
yeah,
I'd
Franklin
like to know more.
Richards is stupid
I'm
powerful.
googling quite a bit.
Yeah.
Mm.
Go ahead and
But I'm
Google him.
glad
His
we
OP
did get-
level is insane.
what was your theater reaction to Black Bolt? Because my theater, like when she took away his mouth, they thought it was like a jokey joke, and they all kind of laughed, and then his brain went jelly, and it was dead silent. It was like dead silent. It was
I love the way you phrased that.
jelly brain.
Thought it was a jokey joke and his brain went jelly.
Oh,
That's
okay.
really
So
what
wait,
happened.
wait, time out. This is why I love
Mhm.
Mr. E. So Trayvon, to give you a concept of how powerful Franklin Richards is. You ready for this, Trayvon? Franklin Richards, as a child, created a universe. As an adult, he made Galactus his herald. That's essentially saying he made Galactus his bitch, right? Like Galactus
That's a fair
bended
way to do
the
it.
knee to Franklin. So that's how powerful Franklin Richards is. So that's
on
why.
your side,
Wow.
really.
Right. That's why we're saying yes. In the MCU, in that respect of canon, Franklin Richards would be the one that would say.
No,
I
I'm
can see it.
thinking-
With a name
Alright.
like Franklin, you gotta be tough. You gotta be
Gotcha.
tough.
Look, Franklin the turtle. He would beat
Yep.
somebody's ass. He wasn't soft.
Yep.
He wasn't out here for play.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah, come on, man. He was too happy to be somebody that's a wimp. You know, Franklin was just like, what? Beat your ass real quick. But yeah, so Franklin Richards, to answer that question, definitely God Doom, definitely World Breaker Hulk. There was even a God Hulk or something along those lines where Hulk became even stronger than World Breaker, which is unfucking fathomable. So there are people, but in the MCU, Trayvon, there is nobody in 616 that right now that can stand toe to toe with the Scarlet Witch. Nobody. So I'll give you that.
I was glad that we went back to talking about Reed Richards though, because I think that was like my last point. Was I also didn't like how like the Illuminati was like all hyped up and like a bunch of the trailers kind of like made it seem like we were gonna build up to this big thing and the Illuminati were gonna be like some kind of impressive force and have like make their stamp on this movie. And all I did was like get their blood splattered, and that was about it.
They
Like
straight up should
they
not
didn't
have
make
been
a
the
stamp, they
trailers.
just made a blood mark in the movie, and that was about it.
Yeah,
Like,
I think what bothered me the most was I think someone was saying this earlier. If you don't know these characters,
Yeah.
you kind of introduce them relatively weak. Like Black Bolt is very powerful, not OP, but he's very powerful. And Reed Richards, I would imagine, could just be better than that. Now, where I will give the MCU a bit of understanding is Feige did break down what happened with Hulk and Thanos, and it was more so Hulk underestimating that there is somebody stronger than him. So when Thanos put that ass whooping on him, it just caught him off guard. He was just like, "Oh shit! Whoa! Oh my god! Like I didn't expect it." So when the Illuminati landed, remember what did Maria say? We can handle that little witch, and it was just like, "Oh word, okay, all right." Watch me
Strange is
beat
like they're
your ass
not
for
coming
this."
back, man. They're dead.
Right. So that's the one little bit of like leeway I'll give is that clearly they were so confident
Also,
in their
why that
power
mortal
set.
fighter?
That's
because Mordo ain't
oh,
stupid.
he knew. He knew.
He was
He's
not. Mordo was
like,
the only thing to go against. Right.
We're not doing that.
He went against.
We
that
already
trope.
don't mess with witches. I'm not doing that.
He didn't even help them. He was like, I know who the Scarlet Witch is. Don't do
Mm-hmm.
this. Like, he could have like turned like, look, listen to me. I know what it is. Don't do
Yeah,
this.
Mordo was the only one that had the black instincts kick into it. He was just like, what if Strange?
He said,
I'm hanging with Strange.
"You don't mess with
keep an
witches,
eye on
y'all.
him.
I'm not doing it."
Can I just say I could have done without Maria being a part of the Illuminati. Like, I would have preferred anybody. I mean, I didn't really care about seeing Maria Rambeau as half the
someone in the chat earlier said one of them should have been Shuri, Black Panther, which would have been a good place.
No. God, no.
Someone else said. What else was it? It was Shuri and someone else. Hold on. Oh, Bucky Captain America. That's what it was.
No. Captain Carter made all the sense in the world. We literally.
I mean,
just
it wasn't
saw
even
her.
the Captain Carter from What If, so I don't think it
feel
made
like
all the sense in the
It was
world.
a lot of fan service.
I would have lost my mind over that.
It was.
I don't think it was.
She's
No,
dead.
it was
It's
a different
not the
one.
same
Because,
woman.
the reason why I say Juwaan, it's a different one, is because they go through an animated world where they turn into like cartoons. So that for me, that was like connecting as okay. What
That
if
was
is the
838
animated
Captain
dimension?
Carter.
But I also believe the fact that What If gave me Captain Carter and then this gave me Captain
But
Carter.
what if was also multiple universes though?
multiple
So we
universes.
can't just
They're both
condense
different
that
Captain
into
Carters.
just one.
And we
you know?
saw an animated universe they were following through, so that would lead us to believe that for What If they would be in an animated universe as well.
But I feel like they did that because we.
I'm just saying, for all the reasons you guys are saying it wasn't, is why I'm saying it could have been, because you're essentially saying you don't know for sure that it wasn't. It just makes sense
I
that
am
it could have
positive
possibly
it
been the
wasn't.
other way.
I
It
will
had
put my
to have-
foot down.
I'm pretty much
It
It was
that
not.
I
know it wasn't.
No way.
Yeah, okay.
I feel like they assumed everybody would think it was the one from What If.
No,
Yeah,
That's
what I
my
thought.
thing. Like,
no. I wouldn't. I do
Like,
not
that makes
think
no
they
sense to me.
would have
Why
that
else
happen.
suffer?
horrible
Why else
storytelling.
suffer?
From What If.
Yeah.
that's
Like,
horrible
what's the
storytelling
point?
then. Yeah, what was the point?
How did
agree.
y'all?
What If
Like-
story? What If
I
story are
agree.
standalones?
But if you did it in
Yeah,
What If
Mr. E
and then
gets
did it
it.
in live action,
Different
it's
Captain
like,
Carter.
why did you?
What if
why?
the Strange? What If isn't the same Strange in this?
Yeah, but I never thought it was. Everyone thought it was. I never thought it was.
They never
I
gave us
low-key
any
did
reason
think
to
they were
believe
gonna
that
have
this
Strange
is-
Supreme.
that this was the same Captain Carter, and
Just
I think
like
they
how
showed
that
us
was-
the animated
I
world on
mean,
purpose, so we
I think it
distinct What If from real life.
To me, if you guys are right, let me go with the premise that you are. Not arguing if you are right or wrong. I'm just saying that's way too like
I'm never going to
unnecessary.
change your mind, huh?
No, it's just unnecessary. Like
Well,
you could have did anyone else then if that was the case. To me, I thought that was the connection. Is that she was a multiversal warrior. You now have her in this multiverse, and you're bringing her to life. Because if
for
not
me-
that, then it's like
I just don't like the idea of her dying like that because I like
The
her a
Illuminati
lot.
felt like payoff. That's what I felt like I got from it. If you watch the Humans, you get the payoff of Black Bolt. Like it just like I just felt that.
The Illuminati
Please don't watch
was
Inhumans.
to establish.
I'm just saying.
I'm not gonna
If you
send that
did
message.
watch it, I'm saying if you did watch it, you got the payoff to see him again. Like that's that.
Yeah.
Like, you
no,
knew
I
it
understand
was
what you're saying.
immediately.
You got
Talking
to
about
actually see Black Bolt. So yeah,
He's a great character. Yeah.
talking about What If, actually, it made me think about like the incursions and stuff. And like, would the Watcher have had to step in for that because they were technically endangering two different universes?
I
Like,
don't think he would have quite yet, at least.
Wait, say it again.
so like the incursions are like when two universes are like colliding, and so either one or both are going to get destroyed. Would the Watcher have to step in for that?
I'm just glad that Mordo and Christine are
No.
I
back.
don't think so. I
They
think that's
know-
just he just looks at it. Like, all right, well, that sucks.
Well,
That poor Wanda.
again, I do want to stress this. Is much as this seemed like a very dangerous thing Wanda was doing, in the comics, Uatu did stand by and watch Thanos snap and disappear
here,
half the
too.
universe. So
Yeah, technically,
Uatu,
yeah.
right? So Uatu was more so like Ultron Vision was like beyond what the Scarlet Witch is. Like, think about it. Scarlet Witch is one of their kids. You give her a kids, end of the day. Vision wanted to destroy universes, right?
All
Like
of
Wanda
them.
was
Well,
willing to destroy
yeah.
if that's what it meant to get her kids back, but that wasn't her initial goal. She just wanted her kids.
So he
That's what
here's
Wanda
where I
was
see the
doing.
difference,
Different.
because like with the Thanos situation, he just wanted to kill half the universe. So the universe would have still been intact. They just wouldn't have had the same amount of people, and like all the personal relationships, like the Watcher doesn't care about, just like grand scheme kind of things. So like with this, Wanda is like actively trying to snatch children from one universe and bring them into another, which can cause an incursion to like either destroy one universe or both. So I feel like that. I feel like the Watcher would be like, "Hey, Wanda, let me talk to you for a second. Like this." It's not
then
a good idea.
If that's how you feel, I would have said he would have gotten involved if she had succeeded.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. If she had succeeded, maybe then he steps in. But
I feel like maybe he went outside worrying, like, oh, what if she does get America's power?
Or look, or
Then
Trevon, let's be honest. Or it could be as simple as he just got his ass whooped by Ultron Vision. He was not looking to go 0 for 2. He's like, I haven't had to fight.
He's still recovering
He's
from that.
He's like, I haven't had to fight in generations. He's like, I foresaw that Doctor Strange could handle this. No need to get my ass whooped again. No need. No need. And look, the way no, he did not either in the comics. He didn't stop the other incursion. Which, by the way, talking about long ass comics, that whole saga of the Secret Wars is very expansive. Because there's like different parts or like versions of those said Secret Wars. Because the one I remember fondly is the one where Black Panther is in Wakanda looking up, and he's just like, "A fucking planet? Like, what is happening here?" So it's very expansive, and I do believe because Dr. Doom was very heavy in Secret Wars. I believe they won't utilize Doom like that. They'll utilize Kang, yes, they'll utilize Kang like that.
Maybe a little bit of Doom. There's a little bit of Doom. A little bit of Doom.
Please. I kind of feel like you brought Jonathan Majors in. You got to give him a chance to have an Infinity War endgame.
Well, I don't think they're going to cover Secret Wars in just like one standalone event. I think it'll be like an Ultron thing. We're going to see Kang in the next big event, like whatever the Avengers come together. It's going to be Kang. And then at some point we'll get to Doctor Doom being Doctor Doom.
Well, here's the thing. Secret Wars is supposed to be the next Avengers movie. And I believe Secret Wars will only be like a part 1, part 2, if that.
Isn't it a show?
We're getting no.
Secret Invasion is the show.
Invasion.
Okay. Yeah.
Which should not be a show, but that's
no, it shouldn't. But it's whatever.
Oh my god, I hate it. Didge, I'll pass it to you. What were your thoughts on this movie?
I loved it. I had.
Wait, you didn't?
I said I loved it.
Oh, it sounded like there was a pause there. I'm sorry.
No, I had a great time with it, and I mean we've hit over so many of the points why I loved it already. But one thing I know Jayla talked about it a little bit. The sound design in this was so great. Like the point when the one part where it really hit me was the lack of sound when they were going through the tunnel underneath the river, and when they got through the last door, and then it just got quiet. You hear sort of the water dripping. Everyone's looking around like, where is she? And then all of a sudden she pops up, and it was just like, it felt so real. Like you could feel the tension in that.
Which, by the way, shout out to Sam Raimi for finding a way to put a horror trope in a superhero. Oh,
for sure.
I was stood there. I was like, why did they stop?
Well, honestly, in their defense, I wouldn't want eyes off her either because she was following them like crazy.
And I think that's what it was.
Hold on, time out, Jayla.
Teach you to back.
I'm going to be honest with you.
I'm still running.
If there's a possibility I could die, I don't ever want to see the shit coming. Like,
I'll give you the real reason. I'll give you the real reason. It's because Strange wanted to trap her, and he was waiting for her to come under the water.
Well, couldn't you have just did something to maybe just conjure something to trap it? Instead of waiting for her to come through?
Wanted to, if he could, he would.
I mean, we saw her. He tried that.
I don't know that. He just stood there. Like
no, he saw the water and wanted to slow her down a bit. That was
and like we essentially already saw him try to trap her with the mirror universe, and it took her all of 2 minutes.
Yeah,
and she figured that out.
She was right behind him the entire time, and she stopped, and then he was like, "Wait, you're supposed to be like right behind us."
Right.
And then she popped up.
And so yeah, I really loved that.
I got
and then,
you.
The horror aspect of it, of course. I love just seeing there were kids legit screaming in my theater. I was like, oh, this is wild.
Baby's first horror movie.
But like I said, we harped over a lot of it already. Those two and then the music fight. I know Jamie, you said you didn't enjoy it.
I liked it, but then it was too much. It was too much. It's like something that's too sweet. Like, yeah, this is good, but now I'm getting diabetes. Like, we need to stop.
I can understand that. I was having fun with it. I thought it was something that was interesting. Especially because when he first picked up the notes, I thought he was gonna turn them into like daggers.
Yeah.
Like
Me too.
I didn't expect it to be just music fight. So that was pretty cool.
Music fight.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I'm so defensive of this movie. I love this movie.
I loved it too. I understand.
It's my baby.
Strange magic was purple. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, the one thing that still bothers me about Doctor Strange is him not saying the name of his spells. That really irks my soul. Like, that's one of the coolest things. It does in the comics all the time.
I live with it. I
miss it. I'm like, why can't he do it? Like, like that was part of the coolest shit. Was like, oh, that's what that's called. Oh, that's what that is. To me, God, it really bothers me, and him not having the thing.
I don't know.
I wanted to
let
be
me ask this
call.
actually, somewhat of a random question, but you'll see where I'm going with it. Like in the new Fantastic Beasts movies, do they also pronounce the spells, or do they just do it?
I know for a fact in Harry Potter's franchise they said the name of the spell.
Yeah, and Harry Potter.
But it is. That's
what she's saying in the Fantastic Beasts.
Yeah.
And that's
I'm like, maybe it's like new age kind of like magic related stuff that they're just like, oh, nobody's really listening to like the spell stuff. Yeah, like the kids like they're just thinking it's gobbledygook. So let's just get to the spell, you know? Because like Raven doesn't say Azeroth, Metron, Zinthos, which messes me up. It makes me so frustrated.
To be fair though, that actually does bother me. Like,
that bothers me so much.
Yeah, she yet to say it.
That's her signature thing. So
she could still say it eventually. You never know.
Say it,
you never know.
Honestly,
if anything, like I could see her saying it probably.
Doctor Strange. That's the same thing for when you play Ultimate Alliance 3. He says every spell when he does it.
Yeah.
I guess
are we bringing out the video games now?
Oh no!
Oh boy!
I'm saying if you're going from the MCU movies, he's never really said.
That's my point. That's my problem. That he doesn't say it.
So he can't start.
None of the sorcerers do.
No. I wasn't putting the pressure on him saying it now. I'm saying overall, my problem with this character is that he's never said it.
Maybe in Universe 2812, we'll go and we'll hear some spells.
Feige just does not care about him saying spells, so I'll never get that. It's fine.
I'm trying to make you feel better.
I mean, I kind of understand it since they have to make up like whole fake languages for everything else, and it's like now you have to add like a few lists for like some spells. It's like just scrap the spells.
Yeah, but I kind of feel like, and again, I did appreciate, because I know a lot of people were questioning like, why is the Agamotto? Why does he still have it? It doesn't. I think a lot of people were very, unfortunately, because the movies have influenced a lot of people. A lot of people saw the Eye of Agamotto as like a cup holder for the Time Stone. It's not. The Eye of Agamotto is its own power minus it never had a stone in it in the comic books ever. The Eye of Agamotto is one of 3 eyes, and it's the power of Agamotto. So I like that they utilized it here. I just would have liked it if it had more abilities.
If I remember correctly, in the first Strange movie, I could have sworn that was one of the reasons why they said the Time Stone was in it, was because it was already such a powerful artifact that it's one of the things that can protect the stone.
Right. But also remember, it was never meant to be worn outside. Yeah, right. It was supposed to just sit there and Strange.
I don't get how people don't understand that it doesn't have power if it literally was said then that this is the reason why the stone is here.
People forget that because everyone, when they thought that Strange was like a fake version of himself in Spider-Man, they built it off of, well, he's wearing the Eye of Agamotto again, and it was destroyed. And it's like, first of all, that was an illusion when Thanos destroyed it. One. 2, he would still wear the Eye of Agamotto with no stone because the Eye of Agamotto is its strength on its own.
I did think
so. That was a lot of that.
I was one of those people that thought like there was something weird going on, and he was acting kind of weird. He was acting.
I still don't understand what about him was weird. I still don't understand that.
He was just like because Wong had warned him about like the repercussions of possibly changing like reality, and then Strange is like, okay, Wong. Gotcha, buddy.
I think that was in the trailer. Like the trailer was weird.
No, Trevon, hold on.
He was fine.
Yeah, hold on. Here we go. Okay. Here goes like the hole in that logic. If Spider-Man had not have fucked up the spell, he essentially would have used it the right way to where none of that would have happened. Peter kept messing up the spell to where
Yeah, he kept
Did you
adding stuff.
hear that? I forgot if I might be wrong, you guys, so don't hold me to this. But I heard
That's how you
that
judge this.
the exact same time that the spell messed up was the same time that things were getting wonky in Loki. And they
well,
were
not specifically. Feige was
Kang
saying
was
they were
killed.
responsible for it. They
Right.
were
Yeah.
responsible for it going all out of whack. So Strange, to me, him utilizing it, it wasn't like Strange was like, I know I can't control this, but I'll do it anyway. He very much believed, I've done it before, I could do it again. But then all these different variables started happening where he was like, all right, this is too much for me to control. I can't. You know what I'm
Which,
saying?
by the way, I did miss the No Way Home review, but I will say that I thought that movie was all right as well. It was just okay to me.
Jamie, you're breaking my heart tonight.
Listen.
Okay.
So what
I
movie
won't
do
go.
you love?
Jamie.
What movie do I love?
Jamie.
From this, see, this phase has made me question like if I really do like Marvel, because I feel like the only movie that I've liked like through and through is Shang-Chi.
I love
All the
Shang-Chi,
other
but
movies
oh man.
I found
Okay.
like
Now-
with Spider-Man, like I'm just like he's supposed to be like, at least in my head, like I think Peter Parker is like a really smart guy and like one of the smartest guys in the MCU. Could be wrong, but the fact that he just did so many stupid things, I'm like, I know better than to do these things.
He's smart, but he's still a kid. Is the
Right.
thing.
That's the thing.
That's what it was. He's
Well,
still.
I
won't
don't
disagree
know.
with you in the respect of this, Jamie. Shang-Chi is still my favorite anything of Phase 4. That's
Yeah.
my number one. It starts there, then it's Moon Knight, then it's literally whatever else you want to. No, Falcon and the Winter Soldier has to be lower. But anything else after that, and as long as that's lower, I'm fine. But Shang-Chi has to be number one because to me, that was the most visually pleased I've ever been.
Oh, the
anything.
opening scene.
Was just
oh
it
my
was
god.
so fucking different and beautiful. And my number one gripe is when you do a martial arts movie, it shouldn't look like it's wiring, right? It should look more authentic.
See, but they went for
And
that.
this
If
did
you
it
see the
really
behind
well.
the scenes, they like intentionally wanted to make it kind of like floaty. I forget all the reasons
Right.
for it, but there was a
Yeah.
reason.
It
Yeah,
was
so
gorgeous.
to me, I
liked
loved
it.
everything
It
about
felt
that
like
movie.
elemental almost.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that you didn't really have to get like a true origin. You know what I'm saying? I
Agreed.
still look, the only thing I disliked about that movie was like when he was just like, yeah, people call me Mandarin, but I don't fucking like that name. It's just like, oh no, I've been waiting for you to
Oh nope.
like, oh no, like I
Put
get
it
his
right in front
point.
of your face again. And nah.
Look, when he said that, it made just as much sense as not calling M'Baku Manny, right? Like I understand it, but it's like, but I only know you as Manape and Mandarin. I don't know you as any other name. Like, why? But when you hear culturally why, it's like I get it, but god damn, did you rip my heart out? Like shit, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that definitely broke my heart. But anything else stand out to you, Didge?
No, I mean I've jumped in so many times when other people were talking. I think I got my point.
I know, I'm
across.
so excited. I'm like, oh my god. Losing my mind tonight.
Then I pass it to you, Sabrina, to end this off here. What were your thoughts on this movie? Because I can't get a grasp where you stand.
Okay, I did like overall love it. Overall, I think like the only complaint I had, and y'all are gonna hate me for this, but I didn't like Wanda's arc at all because it's just the same thing as WandaVision to me. So I was like, she was just worse, and like she was good as a villain, but it's just like I used to love Wanda. So like seeing her, this like murderous monster, I'm like, I hate this. Like I hate this. And like I know like why, and like I don't need anyone to explain to me why. Like I know why, but it's just like it's that, and like her. I'm gonna be that person, like her not, suffering for her actions, let alone in Westview, and now especially this. And like me and Blake have been talking about it, and like he made a good point. And like the more after he said it, I've been thinking about it more, and I'm like, it's kind of true. It was like the last scene with like her after she's like willing to sacrifice herself. It was like when you fuck up, it's just like that's it. Like you don't have to face your consequences. Like you could just, I don't want to say die, but kind of. It's like it's kind of like I don't know. Like now that like he pointed it out, I'm like I can't get that out of my head because I'm like
Also, the same death that Doc Ock had.
yeah, I'm like
I
you
was
kind of did
wrong.
do that.
Yeah,
I'm like
his
they
was
did
executed
do
a lot
that.
better.
Like I said, like all those scenes, like her like obliterating Illuminati, like that was badass. But I'm just like, I'm like I don't want to see her like this. Like I don't know. Like I understand why. I just basically like from the trailers, I kind of what I was afraid of was that it was going to be more about cameos, which I was excited that it wasn't. And it was going to be more about Wanda, which I know it technically focused more on Wanda, but like I liked that it was still a Doctor Strange movie, and like that's what I wanted because I loved the first one, and like first trailer I was like, oh my god, I love it. And then like the more I kept hearing about the leaks, I'm like, as much as it's like that's exciting and hype, like I kept like once we like kind of found out who it was and like the picture leaked, that ruined a lot of my hype, and like it sucked because like I saw the picture before the movie came out, and I was like, oh. I woke up early one morning and like Blake was still sleeping, and I warned him. I was like, don't look at the picture because like I know he like cared more than I did, but I was like, because I didn't know, like I saw like the part before she like kills them all. It was Black Bolt. I'm trying to think who else was in the picture. I know it was Reed,
Carter.
Yeah, and then was Maria in that too?
Not that leaked shot, no.
No, but yeah, like it was so blurry you couldn't see everyone else. But like I saw John Krasinski as Reed, and I was like, I didn't want to see that. Like we had a feeling because like I know we all talked about it, but like I didn't want to see it because I wanted to be like, oh shit, like that's like that it actually happened. Like it's speculation, but like you don't know until you see the movie. But I wish I didn't see that. I'm not saying like that ruined my hype because I still love the movie, but I was just like,
I think we shouldn't have seen Xavier.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that I was excited about, but then like. I remember going on. I didn't even see the TV spots. Like I didn't even watch any of the TV spots.
Yeah, I literally saw the very first trailer, and that was it.
Yeah, well, someone, like one of my like mutuals said that they shouldn't have showed that character during TV spot, and I was like trying to figure out who it was, and then I never did. And then like I was at work, and I was like talking about. I was like, oh, there's like a new rumor that Captain Carter might be in it, and like I had no idea anything about that. And then I go online and I saw the picture of her shield, and I was like,
oh wow,
I don't want to know.
That's rough.
Yeah,
like seeing the spoilers. That was the one thing. I
see, like I didn't even look for them. I just saw them, and I was like, no, that one didn't bother me. The one picture with John Krasinski as Reed, like in front and center, I was like, I don't want to fucking see that. That pissed me off. That got me like, I was like, I really hope. Like I was like. Yeah, that's cool. And then like I'll just go see it now because I was like, if I keep thinking about it and I keep looking at this picture, I'm not gonna want to like really like see it if it like when it's like out. And then I like really enjoyed the actual like story and like everything else and the horror. Oh my god, the horror! Like I said, even with the eye part, I was like, oh, it's gonna be that kind of movie. Like it wasn't that it was like, oh my god, I can't believe Marvel did that, but I was just like, oh, wasn't expecting that because even my coworker saw it like Thursday night, and he was like, "There's some scenes that are like fucked up," and I was like, "What do you mean? Like, what does that mean?" And then he's like, "You'll know." He's like, "You'll know what kind of movie it's like in the beginning," and I was like, "Okay." And then like I saw that, and I was like, "Oh, okay." I
don't think any of us expected them to actually lean into the horror. Like I know they said they would,
not as much as they did,
right?
Yeah, but it's like here and there, or like. As much as I love Moon Knight, like Kevin Feige said the same thing. It was like, "Oh, we go really, really brutal on Moon Knight." I was like, "Yeah, it was brutal, but it wasn't
Did
like."
He say that?
Yeah, he said they wouldn't pull back
teeth.
on the violence.
Yeah, and like he saw it, but at the same time, it's like it's not like that bad. Because like the way he kept saying it, I was like, "All right, where is this big oh my god like moment?" Because I was like, I didn't feel that way, which was fine. Because like that was like whatever. But like this was like, oh okay, like. It wasn't just the violence, it was just the horror, because it's like, I feel like, not that they're afraid to do that, but I feel like they shy away from that, even with darker characters, like, especially with Moon Knight, like that was kind of a step in that direction, but, like, this was, like, a step further, kind of, which, like, and, like, of course you can, you know, assume that, especially because it's Sam Raimi directing it, which is, like, because we just watched the Evil Dead movies, so it was, like, that whole, like, the water scene, I was like, oh, it's, like, Wanda! And, like, her coming on TV, oh my god, that freaked me out. But yeah, like I said, she was a good villain, but I don't know. I don't want to hate on it, because like I said, I loved everything else, but just like that, I was just like, it's the same. That's kind of why, when we were arguing before, it was like, oh, you don't have to watch WandaVision. You're like, you're right, though, because it's the same freaking arc anyway. So I'm like, yeah. I'm like not happy about it. Like Blake's kind of heard the end of it, and he's just like, okay, I know you're right. And I'm like, I don't know.
That's like my biggest scare with like these shows is like because I figured like they were going to kind of like recap in some kind of way for the movies, because like I just did not believe that they were just going to like, you know, pick up from right where show left off and leave like a lot of people who don't have a Disney Plus subscription like in the dark. But the fact that this arc, even if like people don't think like it's the same arc, it walks a very similar path. Yeah. And I don't want them to do that for the rest of the rest of the movies and like try and do that to tie them in with the shows.
Well,
or I guess tie the
especially
shows in with the movies, but
well, like I hope that they don't do that, especially with her, especially if she's gonna make like I know there's like the rumors are in talks that she's gonna get her own solo series. Like I don't want to see that. Like, and it's like the same. Like even though she's more powerful now and she like realizes who she is, it's like it's the same motivation. Mm-hmm. Where it's like, oh, I gotta get my kids back. And like I get that. Like I do. Like that was the whole point, was like her being a mom. Like, but it's just like it's the same thing. And like people were even saying to her was like that's like I said, it would have pissed me off more if we didn't see the part with Billy and Tommy. Like her see like them seeing like the monster that she was, because like even she was like, oh, they're not gonna know. And I was like, so you know what you're doing is wrong, but you don't care. And, like, because they're never going to find out. And it was just, like, that just made me more mad, because I was like, that, and, like, I just don't like, a lot of people are like, oh, that's such a cold line. I didn't like the part with Reed. I was like, so it's okay to take someone else's father away from their kids while you're literally, like, I don't know, I don't like that line.
That's
I don't
fair.
like that line.
That's
like,
fair.
a lot of people are like, oh, that's so cold. Like, yeah, it was a good line, but, like, I hated it. I hated that.
That's fair. That's fair.
I didn't think about that.
That was stupid. That was really like, cause like you're taking away from his kids. Just like, oh, is the mom still alive? Like just because you're grieving doesn't mean you have to fuck up someone else's life. I'm just saying. I know it's like fictional characters, but it just makes no sense.
I was also still along the lines of like, you know, multiple people have told you like what is going to result from this is Mike Moore.
Yeah, she's like, oh, I don't care. I'm gonna get them anyway. Like,
yeah, I mean, I don't care at that point.
I don't have a problem with the line purely because again, they were getting in her way, and she very much at that point was like, I have no interest for sympathy for anyone.
Yeah, like even when they're like trying to stop, she's like, oh, really? I'm more powerful than you. Like, I think because a lot of people are saying, oh, she was corrupted by Darkhold. Yes, that's true. But like people multiple times have told her what she's doing is wrong. And like, she's like, and she even openly admits, she's like, I don't care. They're not going to know. Like,
yeah. Yeah.
So it's like, that's why I'm like, that's just kind of excuse. Cause she knew it. Cause she's like, I don't want to like be mean and be like she's selfish, but she had the same selfish arc, but it was just worse because she actually killed people this time.
I don't think anyone
go ahead, Jayla,
is. Yeah, you're fine. You're fine. I'm quick. I don't think anyone is going to excuse it, and I don't think. I don't.
I've seen that a lot, and I'm like, okay.
Well,
I am Team Scarlet Witch.
Whenever I'm speaking of like my thoughts and her actions and her reasonings, I don't see it as an excuse, but I see it as building off of the cracks in the foundation of her character that we've seen previously. That makes sense. I don't think she's going to get out of this just easy peasy. I do think she's still alive, but as far as like the line goes, that line specifically, I think it shows how lost to her cause and how great the crack has become, because she's not thinking them as a father. She's like, you're in my way of my children, and that's all that matters. You're nothing to me.
Yeah, and I know she said like, oh, she's like, I'm not a monster, I'm a mother. Like that's I know. Or like, oh, that's your kids are made for marriage. She's like, oh, that's how all like moms, do it. And like that was all valid, but like
that was fire.
Yeah, that was like all like I was like, yeah, But I think because I think I talked about this too. It was like even if she wasn't like all good like from the beginning, like in seeing her from I won't even say like from Age of Ultron because like she was kind of like half and half. She didn't know where she wanted to be. But more in Civil War, like even in the beginning, when she accidentally tried to save everyone, that she like killed all those people in those buildings. She like you saw her face; she was devastated, and like she locked herself up. She's like, I don't trust myself. And then like I know why, but it's just like it's devastating to see it. Like so I'm like I loved her, and now I'm like I don't want to say I can't stand. I just can't stand what she's become.
Do you think that like your love of her character made her becoming a villain more impactful for you, or do you just not like it at all?
Because in the comics, this is very accurate to House of M storyline.
Yeah, that's what no, I know. Like, I know that's like who she was to become. I think it's not her being the villain. It's just like her willing to like kill like anybody. And that's kind of where I was like, oh, so she's like there now. And like, I don't know. I think it was just like, if it's one thing, it's like
too
whatever.
Much of an extreme. Like, straight up murder.
And like, she was like, but it, like, I think like what's even more fucked up about it is like, and I know why she had to, but she was willing to kill a child to be with her own kids. And I'm like, you're willing to kill children. So like, there's no line. So it's like, she just, And I get it, like, because she's corrupt and everything, but just, I don't know. It's just.
To also be fair. Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say that's also the arc of a lot of villains. It's
I know.
I have that justification in my ends justify my means.
I mean, look, Sabrina, I didn't want to go there.
To be fair, strange.
I know where you're going to go.
You know where I'm going, Blake. You know where I'm going.
Oh, geez, go ahead.
But there is somebody coming at the end of this month that very much murdered children because he was far off of his own path. Anakin Skywalker did.
Shut up!
Very true.
Shut up! We ain't talking about him.
I think it's for me. I guess.
Shut up! We ain't talking about him. Listen, I don't validate him.
Like,
no. See, like even with Thanos, because a lot of people are like, "Oh, Thanos was saying that," because he thought he was right too, and like I know that she thinks she's right because she doesn't care because she wants to, be with her kids, but it's just like.
But hold on, you do kind of pardon it because you don't think any less of Anakin.
Yeah.
Like for me, like
well, no, okay, it's heartbreaking. Like,
what is his motivation?
I'm trying to think of how to word this.
Same thing,
so for me,
I'm just like, I don't know. I think it's more like if they start out a villain, I'd be like, okay, whatever, But I think it's because if they start out like semi-hero and then like it's like good gone bad, and I'm just it's that trope that always like.
That's what they
for
both
me.
did.
That makes it more. The hard to fall is bigger for me. I mean, like Harvey Dent, for example.
Yeah.
It's a fall that's like so devastating to see sometimes. I'm sorry, Jamie. One second. I didn't mean to.
Oh no, you're
I wanted to say that from what I remember, and I do want to rewatch WandaVision now after this conversation. Although her arc is very similar, I'm not saying you guys are wrong. I will say that at the end of her arc, there's still a lot of devastation that she hit because she can't find Vision again. She lost the perfect picture perfect TV perfect life that she's had for that set of time.
Speaking of Vision, like she only mentioned him once. That also kind of like was like, huh?
Did she mention him?
Already?
Yeah, because she said I lost the man that I loved. That was it.
Oh. And said Vision had his theories.
Yeah, had his theories about the multiverse.
Oh yeah, that's right. So yeah, 2 times, but like I don't know.
Go ahead, Jayla.
I feel like Vision was an easier pill for her to swallow this round than her kids, because she heard her kids screaming. And please, someone correct me if I'm wrong. The last time she even sees Billy and Tommy is when Agatha kidnaps them, right?
No, the last time she sees them is when she
tucks them
in.
That's what it was.
Oh yeah, she tucks him in. She's like, even like. Yeah, if like Families Forever was like no matter where we are, like nobody can separate or something like that.
She tucks them in, and she spends some time with Vision before they all just start to disappear.
Right, that's what it was. Thank you.
I think she said something like, "Thank you for letting me be your mother," and that kills me.
Right.
Yeah. And I feel like we end WandaVision in a lot more grief than we're giving credit to for right now.
Yeah, and like. I think that like that's a beautiful ending, and like that's like a bittersweet ending and like a heartbreaking, heart-wrenching like moment. But like, and then like to kind of be like, okay, like when you have that, and then like she's like, no, I'm gonna go get my kids, I'm gonna kill like everyone. It's just like, oh, so what was the point of that?
All I'm saying is
that was her motivation.
Go ahead, Jamie. Go ahead, Jamie. Sorry.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, but it ruins that beautiful moment, though.
Yeah, because I feel like the big issue is like there's a disconnect. Like I feel like with Anakin. And I'm not well versed in Star Wars lore, but I think it's like, you slowly watch him progress into Darth Vader versus like Wanda. I feel like we got to this moment where like, she's finally able to like process her grief.
The biggest thing you're forgetting is, Jamie, here's where the two connect. Anakin would have not charted there had not the murder of his mother. So Wanda losing Vision, right? It's
that whole.
I think if we got this month, this time span between the end of WandaVision where she gets a hold of Darkhold And when Strange comes back and gets her, if we got a glimpse into that, this would solve so many questions.
I'm not arguing that there's something in this movie missing of that for Wanda.
I think it's like
it seemed like she went from like
no, they definitely connect, but I think it's different because like although you like when they go backwards with like the prequels, you see like why like every reason why Anakin turned. Like whether it's like the Jedi not backing him, Ahsoka, his mom, Padme, everything like
grief.
Yeah, so it's like the grief, but like like no, but like you see him as the villain first, and then they like show the backstory. You know what I mean?
Just saying, everything you're saying, if you really think about it, is exactly what happened to Wanda. She was never accepted as an Avenger. She was never accepted by the whole team. She was never looked at the way that Stark and Cap and Thor and Hulk.
Civil War painted her as a war
100%.
She was 100% monsters of the world before.
Yeah, but she was like with Cap though before that. Before like they kind of like locked her up and everything.
Villain. Cap was looked at as a villain by the government. So
who?
like he was. America. So it's like
she was an
antagonist
in Age of Ultron,
and then
war criminal in
she
Civil
had
War.
left was ripped apart, and she was manipulated by Agatha for that.
And let's not forget her biggest grief: watching her brother die, and then that stems into watching Vision die.
We can forget that because
her parents getting blown up in front of her,
and her parent, she got
blown up.
her and her parents died. Then her brother died.
Gone through a lot of grief.
And so then the little pieces she had a vision of her kids.
So you know what? I want to end this on this. Because this is a very interesting conversation we had on Twitter. Me and Mike definitely felt the same about this. But the question then is, this is our last question of the night before we get out of here. Who in the MCU has suffered the most?
Oh my god, no, we're not doing this. I hate this conversation.
Yes, I'm going there because
they beat her. They like literally like make her look bad, and I'm just like, stop.
Wanda's not my pick. My pick is Thor. My pick is.
That's what I mean. No. So like when they set her up for that.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Like every time I see that post, because I've seen it 3 times, even before like this movie came out. They did it with WandaVision, and they did it like earlier than that. Like
now,
it was like
I'll say this: the second, and I mean,
they set her up every time, and I'm like, stop.
The second by a mile is Wanda, but Thor's loss is very deep, right? Because Wanda losing her kids, you made them up anyway. It does not warrant it hurting any less. Okay. But Thor lost real physical individuals, and then had to replay it. Right? So he thought he lost Loki in Dark World, grieved for that, got him back, and then watched his neck get snapped, right? And then his mother died horribly. His father transitioned.
He didn't become a villain though.
He had to essentially help kill his sister that he just met.
Yeah.
And then loses the eye, loses his hammer, loses his best friend brutally murdered in front of him, then loses half of his people brutally murdered in front of him. Like a lot of really deep, crazy shit happened to Thor.
And he's still not a villain.
And Thor came out of that just like, I am just trying to find the light.
Well, yeah, that's what Thor Love and Thunder is definitely. See, like, I'm interested in seeing more of that. I'm gonna be honest. I think I need another trailer for Thor Love and Thunder because I'm not really feeling it that much.
I need gore. That's it.
I'm not feeling it that much. I even see the pictures and I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I'm not feeling it.
The premise I get, but it's still not the one storyline that's my all-time favorite storyline in comics.
Yeah, I don't know.
Gore the God Butcher, but
Trevon, I just need another trailer, I think, maybe.
What were you saying, Trevon?
I mean, you think about Sabrina kept saying that he never became a villain. I was like, but he kind of wasn't, I don't know, tortured, and he wasn't given, like, he hasn't been. I still feel like Wanda been through the worst. Like once after WandaVision, after we saw their parents got blown up right in front of her,
she was tested on too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like she was tortured. She was like in with the Hydra, like all that stuff. Like she
I would argue, Trayvon. I would argue torture is relative, right? And what I mean by that is it's like grief essentially. Grief can be for different things, right? So like if someone lost a dog to someone else, that's not real grief, right? That's not like losing like a family member, but to someone else it is the same thing, right? So for Thor, his torture was watching half his people die right in front of him, watching his brother's neck get snapped right in front of him, watching his friend get stabbed to death right in front of him, watching his mother get stabbed right in front of him. All of this stuff didn't happen off screen where Thor could. It was right there. So the torture for Thor is I was never strong enough to stop any of these things from happening.
This is fair.
That is a form of
But
torture.
I mean, look at Wanda's foundation though. Like her life overall has not been very
Yeah, they
happy.
killed the man
Whereas
too, up
Thor,
bare
he had
hands,
like
too.
really like high moments and
Yes.
good times with his family. And then Wanda, she's mostly had like, you know, like pretty young age. She loses her parents due to an explosion. It has to see that, goes through testing, becomes a weapon. Like Thor didn't
This is
really
her hometown.
yeah, Thor didn't really have to go through all those hardships at such
Look
a
where
young
she
age.
grew up. Look where she grew
Yeah.
up. Look
That
at
was
Wanda,
the
look where
environment that she was brought
that's
up in.
horrible. Like,
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
ugh. And then her brother got killed. Like she felt it. Like you saw, she felt it.
Mm-hmm.
I was also she may didn't see it, but she damn sure felt it. So I was like, so that was a huge loss for her. And she, you know, she had Vision, and she had to kill Vision herself.
Yeah, she didn't even have a real man. She had to marry a robot. Like, come
He's
on.
a toaster.
Hold on, that's a fault of her own. I'm not giving her points for that one. Like, what? I'm not telling you to fall in love with no goddamn robot.
That's fair.
Okay, that
What happened
gives
to
me the
actually
energy.
kill him?
Like, not that like I'm gonna like clown the person for tweeting it, but like I remember seeing like the like the episode where like she goes to like the headquarters and like sees Vision like
Yeah.
yeah. And I know, so like I remember seeing somebody, they're like, oh, this is one of the most gut-wrenching things ever, and I was like, yeah, maybe for her, but at the same time it's like he's an android.
But that's why I said grief is looked at differently for her.
Yeah,
That
like
meant
for her I understand, but like they're like, oh, that was when I was like,
it was gut wrenching.
I felt bad for her. I felt
yeah, it was gut wrenching. I just
like the way that they said it was like, oh my god, it was like one of the worst things I've ever seen. I was like, okay.
I mean, if you like Wanda, if you like Vision, yes. Like,
I mean, like, I think for me, it was pretty gut wrenching because I knew their connection, and like, I just imagine seeing like the love of my life disassembled and just like completely into bits and pieces and used as just stuff, and that was someone that she loved. Yeah, that was.
I mean, look, like I said, I'm not dismissing Wanda's grief, anything Wanda went through. Like I said, she's my clear-cut number 2, right?
Yeah. No, I agree with your list.
Thor's start to pile, and then what I think the crescendo for Thor is, you literally had an opportunity to stop Thanos before the snap, right? And that weighed on you.
Yeah, he like lost his faith in himself. Like, you heard him talk in the trailer too. He's like, I don't know who I want to be anymore.
Right. Well, Trevon, the only reason why I wouldn't put that on Wanda's shoulders is her focus was different than Thor's. Her focus was more so keeping Vision alive rather than trying to straight up just fight Thanos.
Well, she had to kill Vision. She was killing Vision. While
No.
Yeah, like you can he lost, but he didn't even talk about like his own like faith in himself.
I'm talking about when Thanos was walking up to Vision and she got in front. Her focus wasn't trying to fight Thanos in that moment. It was just keeping him away from Vision.
Yeah, everybody was trying to protect Vision because he had one of the stones.
Right, so she wasn't able to actually just focus and fight Thanos. Thor literally, his only goal was kill this motherfucker.
Yeah.
Right? And he failed. And a lot of people looked at him as like, God, that was our chance. And you fucked that up. Right?
And he had killed him.
Blame Star-Lord first.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
No, yeah, that's
You don't know that. You don't know that happened. So if you're Thor, you didn't even know that happened. True. So for Thor, it was just sitting with that.
He's like, oh my god, this is my fault.
Over and over and over again. To me, like I said, I don't compare it to what Wanda had to go through being actually experimented on, but you could make the case that is his form of torture. Having to replay that in his head over and over and over again. That's why when they showed up to New Asgard, he was in such denial, right? Like he was in such denial of everything because he had worked himself into a frenzy enough to where he could forget about it, right?
Yeah, like he was so like over everything. He let Valkyrie like take over as king because he's like, I don't want to do this. Like I don't want any of this.
Now I will tell you this, Trevon. I believe the bounce back from grief will exponentially go to Wanda. When we see all the Avengers failing and out of nowhere a red mist or some shit pops up and Wanda makes her return, I will pop harder for that than I did Thor landing. And I still to this day believe that's the greatest thing to happen in the MCU is when he landed. And I'm like,
that moment got ruined for me in the theaters. I'm really mad about it
Thor.
still.
So to me, that was when I was just like, we are getting Thor. Go ahead, Jayla.
Oh, okay. I agree with yours. You kind of took mine. I think Thor's number 1, Wanda's number 2. Another thing that I want to mention real quick about you're mentioning Wanda's return. I do want to mention, I don't think anyone brought it up, but the differences between the Scarlet Witch and Wanda is something that I found really interesting in here, how they separated the two, which is a whole other thing. But I just found that interesting. But no, I agree with you. And yeah, fun little story about that Thor entrance. I was at a Studio Movie Grill, and our waitress walked right in front of me and was giving me the bill right when Thor made his entrance. So, yay! Love that.
Now, see, in some multiverse, that was Jayla's villain origin story.
It was really my real life villain.
After that, she took over every movie theater.
Jayla found the Darkhold and just completely went.
no movie theaters anywhere.
I have
yes.
to watch.
You know what, Didge? You know what, Didge? That is what Jayla whispered. No more movie theaters. And then they all just start to disappear. But Trevon, so you're going Wanda. You believe Wanda has experienced the most grief, right? Are you saying something? Or
I say yes, I do.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I'm like I couldn't hear you.
I turned up my headphones.
I'm like, I heard
Hey, I didn't hear anything.
The anticipation.
Yeah, no, look, like I said, if you're making the argument for Wanda, I'm not dismissing it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
It's
even if you wanted to,
heavily.
right, even if you want to go 1A to 1B, I wouldn't argue that. I just believe, and I think the moment that hit me the most, like, Wanda seeing her kids and experiencing that, right? Like that hurt. But there's nothing that just broke my soul more than Thor meeting Frigga again, right? And Thor just so desperately wanting to tell her what's going to happen so she doesn't die. And she just accepts it. She's like, no, if it happens, it happens. And in that moment, she gave him the confidence for him to be worthy enough again to grab Mjolnir. So it was more so of a confidence booster because he lost so much confidence in himself. He didn't think he was worthy.
Another thing was just Thor crying over Loki, because like Loki's died a couple times with him, but Loki actually dying, him realizing that it was real. Like this was actually, he can't fake this. Was a hard moment.
Yeah, man.
I guess for me, when I look at Thor, I think of like he still has people he can talk to. I don't know. I just feel like she's alone. That's like I feel like she doesn't have anybody to like rely on.
I can flip that because remember how Endgame ended. He didn't even feel solace at home anymore with his own.
But
people.
He had a home to go to. Like,
but I'm saying you're saying he had a physical home. I'm saying he didn't feel as though he had a metaphoric, like an emotional home. So he's seeking that. He's seeking that with the Guardians because it's not home to him. He lost his home. He doesn't have one anymore. He has a place where his people can call home, but to him, that'll never be Asgard. So that's why he left with the Guardians and didn't stay there. He feels so empty, Trevon. He can't even be king to his own people. So again, I'm not diminishing what you're saying for Wanda. I'll put her, you know what? I'll take her out of 2. I'll put her at 1B. Because what everything you're saying is valid, but Thor feels so empty too. But you're looking at it from a sense of, but he has somewhere to go. Yeah. But he's trying to tell you, I don't feel as though I have that, right? Like you ever see someone that's going through grief so bad that you're like, bro, you got money, you got your family, you got your friends, but to them, they don't see it that way. They're just as empty as, as you may feel. So that's why I'm like, Thor internally feels empty. You know what I'm saying? So I get what you're saying in that sense.
No, I definitely agree with that.
He has shown us how empty he is inside. And that's why he's seeking it somewhere else. You know?
Yeah. No, he's definitely like my pick. See, like even when you're like talking about everything else, I was like the most like I want to say the most important thing, but like that you didn't even mention was like his faith in himself that he lost, like his confidence.
Yeah.
Like he's like I'm like when they're all talking about, like the way they figured out how to like redo bringing everybody back. He's like, okay, he's like, I've done enough. You know what I mean?
He didn't want the hope. He didn't want the
and
hope
like,
of
even after everything with Endgame, like he's still in that process because like you see that in Thor: Love and Thunder. He's like, I don't know who I want to be. He's like, right. He's like, I don't want to be a hero. Like I got to figure out what my own path is.
Right. So yeah, there's a lot of, like I said, it's going to be very interesting the next time we see Wanda, what her headspace is. Because look, I don't believe Wanda's going to get any better. I believe who will find Wanda will indeed be her father. And once her father gets a hold of her, she won't be any better. She won't be any worse.
Gonna be her dad in this one though, because she already had a dad.
Yeah.
We only know that that's how she viewed him was dead. We have no reason to believe that they actually gave birth to her.
I think the only person that can pull her out of it is Charles Xavier, who tried to help her this round. But I think if anyone was to bring Wanda back, the most fitting for me would be Professor X.
Yeah, see, I really hope it's Magneto.
So
where he
after
makes
this
her feel
movie,
like it's at home.
There were so many opportunities to call Wanda a mutant, and I really thought it was going to happen in this movie with Professor X went in her head.
Now, see, I love that you said that, because my issue came from it not happening in Eternals, when Celestials are the only reason mutants exist, and it wasn't even said there. So it didn't shock me.
No, we're not going to talk about that. Nope.
It didn't shock me when it wasn't said here, because I'm like, well, they created mutants. Like, legit created mutants.
Yeah,
so they're
no
waiting
idea.
for the X-Men movie to be how they introduce it, which I'm fine with. But to me, it makes a lot more sense for Magneto to pick. Because to me, I feel as though if Charles does it, he'll never truly understand what Wanda's going through. But Magneto will. Magneto truly understands.
Okay.
If not being
No, I see your point. You
know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
that's
no,
why
I
I'm
got you.
saying
I
I
got
can
you.
see that. And look, even if we go your route, Jayla, he's not her actual father. I believe he will take her
A
in
father figure
and become that father figure.
Okay.
Nonetheless.
All right, no,
And
I
I
see
want
you.
Polaris. I want Polaris too. So I want that sibling.
Didn't they retcon that in the comics too now? And they keep going back and forth. So I don't know where it stands currently.
Well, the original comics, not original, but
I know there was a run where he was, then I know they retconned it at one point, like whatever in their main timeline he wasn't anymore.
Well,
but then at one point I remember it happened again.
Even
So I just
one
don't
of
know
her
where it stands
original,
currently.
even one of her original creations. Remember, she was created in Wundagore by Chthon.
True.
So in that, she had no actual father. She was created. So that's why I thought it was very interesting that they went to Wundagore, mentioned Chthon, and it was just like, but wait, what?
He did say, did the actress say she was forged? Didn't she say that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's why I said I think WandaVision was showing you, because again, remember, the whole premise of WandaVision is showing you life through her eyes. But it's the whole premise of a lot of things she's doing are things that maybe aren't true.
She's an
So that's what I'm
unreliable
saying.
narrator.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I believe she believes those were her parents, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's the actuality of it.
Very interesting.
Oh, Mr. E in the chat said, what about Hawkeye going to get her?
Hawkeye said, man, fuck all this hero shit.
He
said, he better call Kate Bishop.
My name is Clint Barton. It is not Hawkeye.
He does have a soft spot for
Hawkeye
Wanda.
probably like she can. I mean, we'll see if
Theoretically.
she can warp what? No. I'm gonna stay where I'm at.
He said, I barely could get through regular human beings that just shoot guns. You're talking about magic and shit now? No, thank you.
I
will
think he's
stay
one
home.
of the few people that's been consistently like good to her. So
100%.
like,
Yeah, I think he can get
I'd
through
say
to her,
that.
for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, but you know what? I
think
like
he's
not
also
doing
over
that.
this though.
No, but you know why I like them not, and I'm gonna go to you next, Blake. But you know why I like them not implementing Hawkeye to kind of be that soft spot for
I
Wanda?
think I know, but go ahead.
It's the same reason that I like that they refuse to retcon Ahsoka having that moment with Anakin before he goes to the dark side.
Yep.
Because it doesn't need to be there. It was way more impactful for her to feel him kind of making that turn at the end of Clone Wars and kind of just going like, what is this? Like, not really understanding.
No, I love that.
What it was. You know what
Wow,
I mean?
spoilers what happens to Anakin.
Spoilers.
Jeez.
I'm getting there.
Did you just say
there.
spoilers to what happened to Anakin?
It was a joke.
Oh wow! Oh, there's no point of me watching it now because now I know.
You're right. You're right. I should
No,
stop.
but to me,
No, please don't.
to me, I appreciate that because I'm like, to me, I kind of feel like you murky the waters if you do.
No,
that.
I
So
fully agree.
It's best
I
if you keep
fully
it
agree.
separate. But Blake, who do you think is who has experienced the most grief between, or in the MCU? I won't even give you two people to go between, in case you think it's someone else.
I would say it's between them, and it is close. Like, just listening to the back and forth, I've been picking sides and going back and forth. I'm being like, oh yeah, it's totally Thor. Then I hear the argument for Wanda, and I'm like, okay, it's probably Wanda. And then I hear you go in on Thor more, and I'm like, okay, it's probably Thor. It's definitely close, and it's hard to measure grief in someone's I don't know the word I'm looking for, but
Someone's
their way of,
ideology. Right.
Yeah,
How they
and
view
their
it.
way of working through it, because like even Sabrina said, Thor didn't go murder people.
Right.
Because at the same time, like he did have a good childhood. Like he grew up happy, and Wanda just never got that. Like from when she was a little kid, she's been through it. So
Right.
I mean,
but also where we can shoot Wanda some bail is we don't know that if Thor was given the opportunity to go and find his brother, his mother, would he? Because he was willing to fuck up a whole timeline to keep his mother alive. So I'm like, we don't know the extent of he would have went to if he was given the opportunity.
To be fair, he wasn't thinking like in regards to how it would fuck up the timeline. Wanda knew very well she was murdering people.
Oh, for sure. But I'm saying Wanda felt as though, because that's kind of how she was manipulated, however you want to view it. She was given an opportunity of like, hey, you could go get your kids. What would Thor have done if they said, hey, you can go get Loki, you can go get Frigga, you can go get...
I don't know if you believe that at first.
I don't know. We're talking about in the height of his grief. Who knows what anyone believes in the height of their grief? They're susceptible to anything. But go ahead, Jayla.
Yeah. I think for Wanda, she's where she is at this point. She has felt like everything has been taken from her and taken and taken and taken. She's become resentful and angry. She's like, I'm taking it back now. I you know, that's kind of like where I think her mentality went. Now that I'm thinking about it more, but that's all.
She straight up just doesn't care anymore.
Yeah, she's like, you have taken everything from me, and you keep taking, and it just doesn't get better. And I'm done. I don't care anymore. I want what I want. I want something.
Every movie we've seen the making of a supervillain, pretty much.
Yeah, she's just like, I want something that's mine. I want to get what I want for once, and that's what led her down that path. Is one of the things that I'm taking away from all of this.
So who are you going with, Jayla? Thor or?
Still they're even.
Still Thor,
it's just, it depends on the day.
Blake, so you're of the same mindset, right? Like it just depends on the.
It depends, but I'm definitely leaning towards Wanda.
Okay, all right. So we got 2 Wandas, 2 Thors. Didge, who did you go with?
No, I was with Blake. I was sort of just going back and forth, listening to everybody's arguments, and I think what Blake said about the childhood sort of pushed it to Wanda. Thor did have at least a happy childhood. Wanda was basically in chaos from the beginning. She's been in fight mode all her life.
Yeah.
So she not only, yes, they both had the grief, but Wanda's grief was just compounded on basically hell from day one. So it's like, I think I do got to give it to her.
Thor was living in royalty up until we saw
Thor
him
was
in
the crown
his own movie.
Egotistical, living it up.
Mans was a crown prince.
He had friends.
I will not hold it against him that he came from a life of circumstance.
But I'm just saying,
he was privileged.
Look, the only reason why I can't hold that against Thor is because I will never hold that against Bruce Wayne, and that motherfucker has gone through some shit. So if I won't hold it against Bruce, I cannot hold it against Thor.
That's very fair.
Damn right, you better not.
No, I can't.
You think he cares about any of that? No.
We're measuring grief. I don't think there's a right answer.
No. That's why I said I took 2 out of it. I can go.
See, like that's how I use the argument with like that's how like Tommy Elliott, Hush, and like Bruce are different. Like Tommy was envy of Bruce having like inheriting all this money, and he's like, I don't want this. I want my parents back. And like he didn't see it that way. He was like, oh, you get all this, so like he literally killed his parents so he could be like inherit their money just the way like Bruce accidentally did. And it's like, no, he didn't have to kill them. Like he would rather. You think he wants all this money and like be in a house alone with just Alfred? No, he wants his parents back.
Right. And we did see in Thor 1, there was a lot of times where Thor didn't feel whole. Even at home, because of how Odin ran things. There were a lot of things he disagreed with. Now, I won't say that he didn't, he obviously did come from privilege, but his hurt isn't diminished at all just because he had a proper upbringing. But I do
exactly
on Wanda's just never had a fair shot at
it goes back to the
Oh, nope, you muted yourself. Nope, you muted yourself.
Oh shit! Sorry, I just realized I did. No, but yeah, like to say what
what lips.
No, but yeah, it's like, but like money can't buy you happiness. It's like it just
Right.
doesn't excuse what you went through just because you have money or this or that.
Now, I will say when people say that, usually common people's problems is not having money. So it's like, well, if I can get that problem out of the way, I feel like everything else I can maybe deal with. Like the poverty is my issue. Let me get out of the poverty and then let me see, like, is it really tough out here? Like, let me just get through that shit first.
Right.
So Didge, you're going Wanda. Trayvon's Wanda. Blake, you're Wanda. Jayla, you're with me in Thor. Sabrina, did you go to Team Wanda?
She's just
Oh, you were
angry at
even.
Wanda right now.
Huh?
You're just angry at Wanda right now.
Yeah.
For sure.
So you're going Team Thor?
Yeah.
Okay. Jamie, who are you going with? Thor or Wanda?
Definitely Wanda. Like, you know, thinking about like her upbringing, like, yes, money doesn't bring you happiness, but just the fact that I feel like money brings you like the money and fame, or not money and fame, the money
Say, wait a
and
minute.
like the things that Thor had access to, his resources gave him security, which gave him a better opportunity to have happiness. And you know, he did have good times with his brother, his mother, his dad, that he can like reflect on, and which makes the grief even stronger for him. Whereas Wanda, like, there's very little to reflect on, where she was like, she felt like she was fully happy, or like was able to like think of a moment where, like, you know, like, yeah, there are some problems, but I wouldn't trade this for anything. And that's my main issue. Like, she really didn't have a chance from day one.
Yeah, I would also argue the pressure of responsibility Thor had. You being looked at as the future king. And that not really being something Thor 1 utilized it. It's not really that important to him. He was more so of, I want to just fight, drink, and have fun, right? And Odin was just like, you need to grow the fuck up. Go to Earth for a semester and see how regular people live. And Thor was just
Sent
like,
him to boarding school,
yikes.
essentially.
Right. He was just like, yikes. People live like this? Oh my God, Dad, I am sorry.
He stripped him of his armor and hammer, like, give me your phone, give me your wallet, go.
Right. And
Be on
rank.
your
And
own.
look, Thor's grief doesn't even stop there. He's about to lose a whole lot more friends in this next movie. He's about to lose rank. Lose rank to Jane, right? See his hammer come back and not even choose him, go right to Jane. The man's not done in his loss. He's about to lose a little bit more. A little bit more is about to be lost for Thor. But like I said, it's 1A, 1B. I don't think Thor is drastically over Wanda. I don't think Wanda's drastically over Thor. I think you can kind of ping pong it. You can go either way.
Depends on the situation. Depends on the day.
Right, but like I said, loss is loss. So there's no way to kind of qualify someone's loss as better or worse. So when you make your case, Trayvon, I'm with you. Wanda has gone through the fucking ringer, right? Like the legit ringer. And it didn't make it any better that literally everybody at the funeral and Endgame was just like, hey, I love you, you take care. And it was just like, I feel like we're forgetting someone. And Wanda was just standing there like, the fuck, me? Anyone want to say something to me? No, not really. No. But I still feel as though Wanda and Natasha were completely shaded. Like they were, and Gamora.
Yeah.
Like picture Peter Quill standing there.
Oh my
just like,
gosh.
I told you guys about Gamora yesterday. Like, what the fuck is this?
See, I tell this to people all the time. Like, I missed Gamora's death the first time I went to the theater, because I was looking. I think I looked at my brother to like, oh my God, she's about to die, and then she died, and then like they quickly moved away from it, and I didn't even get to see, like, I didn't get to have that. What's it called? Like,
gut punch.
No, it's like completion, but it's a different word. But I didn't get to closure. Yeah, I didn't get the closure that she had died. So I'm like, wait. She's dead? Like, what the heck?
Well, I think they didn't give the closure because they were just like, she will be back in the very next movie.
Yeah, that's fair. But like
you only got to sit with it for a little bit.
So Gamora died, and like I didn't hear a peep. But then like Spider-Man starts melting away, and everybody's like, ah!
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. When Natasha died, my theater was quiet. Everyone was just like,
yeah. Oh,
I was having that to my godfather.
That actually got me.
Who was gonna die?
Like, she was not my favorite, but like that got me because I was like,
somebody in my theater.
I think it bothered. I think it made it worse too, because like, yeah, I know they were like, oh, she was like family, like she was all like they had, but like they didn't even throw like a funeral for her or anything.
Yeah.
No,
what were
made
you
it
gonna say,
so
Jayla?
bad.
I was with my godfather, and we were guessing if it was gonna be Hawkeye or Black Widow, going back and forth. Because like, oh, she has a movie, she's fine, everything's fine, and she goes over the edge. It's fine, it's okay.
And look, the one line of dialogue as we get out of here that sticks with me still to this day is what T'Challa says. Because a lot of people forget this. When the Black Order lines up to the sphere that they kind of built around Wakanda, he tells them, "You will find nothing but death and I think he said like
death and destruction,
something along those lines." I'm paraphrasing, and then the movie ends with him dying. Right, so it's like he essentially foretold the wrong way. So it's like he's like, yes, Thanos will meet death and destruction. And it was just like,
I was not expecting that. Oh. I took my cousin who like does not know these movies for like emotional support, and like she was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "No."
Yeah,
I was like,
when he disappeared, all you heard in my theater was, "Oh hell no, not T'Challa."
No, it was just like everything because it was like one after like, but like like them all disappearing. Like my cousin was like, "What's going on?" And I was like, me like going through it, like having a breakdown. She was like, "Why are you crying?" And I'm like, they're all like disappearing. What the fuck?
Yeah, I was sad, but I also low key laughed because he was trying to pick Okoye up, and then you just see her fall back on the ground. She's like, "What the hell?"
Yeah,
she was like,
"Oh no!"
I was like, "Oh."
I was proud of Infinity War because they've done something that we haven't seen since Star Wars, the villain one.
Yeah,
I've never seen that.
That's why.
The villain one.
That's one of the best. That's why that for the longest time that was the best MCU
bleakest
movie to me.
endings, too.
My
Say it again, Jayla.
The bleakest. It had one of the bleakest endings.
Oh yes, yeah.
It's still top three.
If you didn't know the comics, you didn't really know how to feel in that moment. You were
And
just
it's funny because like, I knew this stuff was going to happen.
I was on the edge of my
but
seat.
so
Like that's not it,
surprised.
right?
I feel like something was gonna happen, but not like that. I did not expect that.
Yeah. What are you saying, Didge?
Just sat there quiet for like, my theater. They sat there quiet for like.
We were
3
all
minutes.
quiet. We were like
yes.
Everybody knew there wasn't going to be a post-credit scene because like the guy, he was telling everybody, "Hey, just know there's no post-credits or whatever."
Damn.
People just literally sat there like.
That was a long way.
Yeah, that's what I was just like. I was like, I need a minute. Like my cousin was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "I need a minute. Like I literally need a minute."
That is.
Yeah, there was an end credit.
I know.
That's really messed up.
Because I couldn't even. Like I was speechless. I was like,
"Oh yeah,"
just staring at her with like no words. She was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like,
I was sitting there like,
I was like, "There's no way that just fucking happened."
Really, Trayvon?
yeah, because I was like, "That'll be bad." There's no way. You Spider-Man, please.
And
Trayvon's right.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Yeah, it still killed me though.
Yeah, it was still just rough. It was still just rough.
For me, it was Peter.
I still hate that scene. Like, even though like he's perfectly fine now, I still hate that scene so much.
It's a very well executed emotional moment.
Yeah,
well, like I remember for months, like after that, before like he like came back, I was like, I can't watch that movie. I was like all over like I remember I used to see that clip everywhere, and I was like, stop. I was like, I can't go through that again.
It's one of those. It's the emotional journey of the characters, then like the actual like what's gonna happen because we know they're gonna come back, but it's seeing the emotional journey of these characters that we all grown so close to, and like have such a big failure, and just like. It was gut wrenching. You know, the question about how they're gonna bring them back was.
It was a year, right? We had to wait. It was a year.
Yeah.
But I was mostly worried about. I was like, I gotta wait a damn year for this.
Yeah, and Infinity War is still my all-time favorite Marvel movie.
I'd say that and that one and No Way Home became my favorites.
Yeah, No Way Home is definitely somewhere in my top 10.
I would say like those are my top two.
Like,
this movie.
Are we doing tops about like
Shang-Chi.
rewatchability or just like favorites?
You can do that. You can do that if you want.
No, yeah, that's fine. I just
put
those are like
Infinity
the
War
I
on
rate
my top
movies
of
on
rewatchability because
rewatchability.
I have to be ready to watch Infinity War.
Yeah.
To me, it's my most authentic forms of literally everybody. It's Cap at his purest, Thor at his purest, Iron Man at his purest. It's literally the best of everybody. Me getting Nomad Cap was just like
that's the best thing that ever happened.
I didn't get my nose to Sherlock, so I was mad.
I don't know why you were expecting that. Like that's too on the nose.
Expecting what?
No shit, Sherlock, because both of them play Sherlock.
I wanted it really bad.
But I will say, Jayla, I will say the funniest thing about Doctor Strange 2 is when, I told you I was very upset that America Chavez was surprised to hear the name Spider-Man, because I was really hoping he was going to say something like, yeah, but my Spider-Man is Miles Morales. Like, who's yours? And
Why?
I
did you say that?
I would have loved that.
I
would have
wanted
loved
to
Miles like that. You
I
were gonna
wanted
get that.
Or she could have
Actually,
said she
no,
had a
I
friend,
wouldn't.
Miguel O'Hara.
Because then, like,
Now
you're not
that-
gonna
Miguel
see
O'Hara.
it.
Now you're onto something.
I just wanted some other Spider-Man. So I was
Instead of being like, who? And I was like, oh.
You could have mentioned Spider-Man and she just
May
was
not
like,
think about No Way Home at all, and then it's just like, who? And I'm like, oh, yeah, we know.
Because maybe he once said it. He wouldn't know. He doesn't know Peter, right?
Yeah.
No. I'm saying he would have said, I only know Spider-Man. Like, I don't know who is Spider-Man. I know Spider-Man though.
He said Peter Parker, didn't he?
No, he doesn't know it's
He
Peter
doesn't
Parker.
know he's Peter Parker.
Forgot.
He doesn't know it's Peter Parker. The spell worked on him too. He doesn't know who Peter Parker is.
Everyone forgot who Peter Parker was.
Yeah.
But he knows who Spider-Man is, though.
Yeah,
Yes.
Spider-Man.
Yeah,
The whole world
He
still
doesn't-
knows who Spider-Man is.
They just don't know his
They don't know who Peter Parker is.
Yeah, they don't know his secret identity.
The spell was everyone
it
forget
should be.
Peter Parker.
Same way with
Okay,
Happy
I'm
at the
confused now.
Cemetery.
Okay.
Okay, hold on. Hear what we're saying. So do you know how the world before Civil War had no idea who the hell Spider-Man was, let alone it was Peter Parker? That's just essentially what he reverted it back to that moment in Civil War.
Oh, so it's just like people know of Spider-Man, but like, see, like, I get that, but him bringing him up anyway, that's what doesn't make sense to me.
Because he was talking about
Spider-Man.
No Way Home. He was talking about that there was a multiverse incident with Spider-Man. And then
He remembers his time with Spider-Man, just not who Spider-Man is.
anytime that
okay. Oh, that's right, because when he does that spell, he still remembers it, but nobody else does. Okay, yeah, that's right. All right, I forgot about that.
Well, no, because Wong remembers that also, that
all
happened.
the memories
They
of
just
Peter
don't
is
remember
replaced with
Peter.
Spider-Man.
No, but remember before he did the spell, he was like, oh, remember this? And he's like, no. He's like, exactly. Like, that's why he was like, oh, we could try that spell. Like, when he was willing to help Peter, you know what I'm talking about?
As long as what you're saying is that Doctor Strange does not know who Peter is.
Yeah, because now it makes sense, because I'm like, I kind of forgot about that.
Yeah, okay, I'm with you.
Because I was like, how is he, like... See, like, I think... not that, like, I would forget that, but, like, I felt like with that, I feel like he wouldn't have remembered anything with Spider-Man. Like, he would, like, see, like... Because you know how, like, at the end of No Way Home, like, Spider-Man, like, Peter's still, you know, going out being Spider-Man in, like, the new suit. I feel like that's where I was like, oh, maybe that's how he knows, but, like, I forgot that he could still remember his time with Spider-Man, just not it being Peter Parker as Spider-Man.
He hears Spider-Man, he's like, oh yeah, that guy. He'll hear Peter Parker and be like, never heard that name.
Yeah, because he tells Peter that he's not going to remember Peter, but he will remember, like, all the memories he's had with Peter, it'll just be replaced with Spider-Man in his brain.
Right, so when Spider-Man when Spider-Man meets Doctor Strange again, he won't be like, oh, good to meet you for the first time. He'll be like, oh, hey, Spider-Man. Like, yeah, I remember the whole Infinity War and in-game shit. I remember that. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Right, yeah.
He gets his secret identity back.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, I just really love, but I loved America's line of like, does it come out of his butt? And he's like,
I hope.
no.
I loved her. It was great.
Out of different parts of the body continues.
Right. Like, I love though that Doctor Strange is like, no, I don't think so. Does it? Like he.
I was like
it didn't go.
Me thinking about that in the middle of the movie.
Yeah, he's like, I've never really asked him because I'm like, we never
really saw that, so we don't know.
It goes back to them questioning Toby, like,
yeah, exactly what I was thinking.
Anywhere else, like, where else does it come out?
It could, you never know.
He's
Maybe
like,
that's
no,
like his different thing. Like, you know how like Toby's Peter has it like coming out of him. Maybe Tom's
Let's
has it, but
not
it
think
comes out
about
his
that.
butt.
I'd rather
I
not.
don't want to think about that at all.
I'm just saying, we're talking about it.
No, not at all. Not at all.
No, we're gonna talk about it later, Blake.
So
Shout
we're
out to
ending the stream now, right, Jayla?
Yes, we are. Shout out to Mr. E, who says, "Who the heck is this Peter Parker you all are referring to?" Absolutely, that is correct.
I don't know who. He is.
Look, we want to say thank you to all you guys. We always get our biggest views when we get close to ending it. That's why I try to extend it a little bit to maximize the views. But we thank you guys. We had so many people watching this. We appreciate you guys, Mr. E, everybody in the comments.
Oh, we had a super chat too.
Oh, we did have a super chat?
We had a super chat?
Let's give a shout out to our super chat. Let's
From
see.
whom?
Let's see. From Hollow Chronology. Shout out to you.
Oh my
God bless you.
Bless you. my
I'm so
God.
sorry.
Some more black
It
inside.
It came in super loud in my headphones.
Yeah, I was like,
that
Oh
sneeze
my
was so
God.
loud. I heard your heart pounding. Like, goodness gracious.
Good morning. Good morning.
But thank you for the super chat. We appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. We cannot wait to come back Friday to do GVN talk. AJ has not said his piece, so that will be at least 3 hours itself.
Oh boy. Here we go.
wait, what happened?
AJ he wasn't on tonight, so when he's on Friday, he's probably gonna spend a lot of time.
Oh God.
I'm just curious to know what he thinks of the Wong transition from the Redwoods to Wong.
I can guarantee you he does not like that. I can guarantee you there will be 2 topics AJ does not speak for.
But I think he might be the only one.
That what? Didn't like the transition?
Yeah, that doesn't like it. I don't
No,
know.
I heard a lot of people didn't like it.
No, I'm talking about his tweet from earlier because he like got ratioed so bad.
Some people agree, though.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah,
not
I
forget
definitely-
that.
Are you sure?
I think that some people agree.
Unfortunately.
I don't know.
That's for sure.
Because I remember when I first looked at it, I was like, AJ,
Yeah, AJ when he feels
it's not too late to delete.
Yeah, he feels strong.
Not too late to delete it.
Yeah, AJ tweets like he's drunk. But anyway, Friday we
Always
will be
having
back.
He brave. That's all I'm gonna say.
He is.
We will be back this Friday for GVN Talk. We will also be bringing back Star Wars Saturdays. Starting this Saturday, where we're going to be breaking down Clone Wars as we head into Kenobi. Which I cannot wait for because
every day, Juwaan, just gonna give you the reminder because it's not just for me anymore.
Mhm.
Every day, we are closer to the masterpiece that will be Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I've already saw what heaven looked like. I saw Hayden and Ewan smiling together, talking.
Oh, stop! Oh wait, did you see the clip of them actually like talking about how about Revenge of the Sith and how it's a phenomenal film, and that Ewan talked about having the high ground? I was like.
Yeah.
Is this 2022 or is this like 2005 again?
I'm not ready for it. But I do, speaking of Clone Wars, I do want to give credit to Jamie, who has been, making strides with Clone Wars.
I'm almost done with season 4.
I appreciate it.
That's pretty good. You're actually further than I thought.
Granted, while I was watching, I was kind of passing in and out, but I did go back to the episodes to make sure
You just
that I
didn't
didn't
have
miss
to say
anything.
that. You didn't even have to say that.
I just,
Now I feel
some of the
yeah.
Okay.
left it
So
alone.
let me put this little kernel in here. I thought the first few seasons of Clone Wars were not very good because it was like there were like a whole lot of. It was. I
don't know.
Listen. Open your heart to the words about.
I wonder.
There was
at
like.
what point Jamie will be confident enough to say the majority of the Clone Wars show is just filler.
See, that's what I thought about the first 2 seasons because it felt so random. It was like we would get a
how dare you?
We would get a kernel of an interesting story, and then we would get like a whole bunch of filler
robot stuff. Yeah.
I'm like, what is going on? But now the later seasons, I feel like we're doing really good. So I do like the
just
later
watch
seasons.
the final 4 episodes of season 7 and you're fine.
Stop it! No, stop! Do not tell her that.
You know, you might have a
She
point
does
there,
not
Blake.
need to know anything about the Bad Batch.
I want to spend this time saying that congratulations to Jamie for graduating this past weekend. Very awesome. Super proud of you. Anyone that knows Jamie knows that Jamie has put in extreme amount of work graduating. We are all proud of you and your GVN family. Glad that you graduated. Glad that you're watching Clone Wars.
Award-winning, Jamie.
Then you'll be ready for Kenobi.
Right, that's right. Award-winning Star Wars, Clone Wars watching, Jamie.
He might actually be.
Ooh, that sounds like a beautiful ring. Oh my god, I love that.
Right, award-winning
Clone Wars series.
Watching, Jamie. Yeah, I like
Obi-Wan
that.
Kenobi.
Nice ring to it.
It's like poetry. It rhymes.
It does.
See.
We will wash away everything Blake said, and Jayla, you will not take what Blake said as gospel.
Yes, you will. You will not. You will not, because no.
Don't start watching the Clone Wars until you don't have.
I wish I had like the thing that Men in Black do, so I could just wipe your brain.
I said, don't start watching the Clone Wars until he watches Scott Pilgrim. Don't do it.
Oh my god, you're so right. Actually,
I'm too far in. I can't stop now. But I'm
still on season 1.
You
But
still
Sabrina,
have
I listen
shit.
to your advice, bestie. You're good.
Wait, what?
I listen to your advice, bestie. You're good.
See, like I could go a step further, but I'm not going to because I know Juwaan's gonna be like, no, screw you.
Anyways, Juwaan, I want to end it with a deal.
Because it's only like a deal that would make for me that like Jamie probably would not agree with. So it's like it's not like, oh my god, you have to do this, and then she'll finish it because it'd be up to her.
I will spend a.
But if it was me, I would just say you have to watch the entire High School Musical trilogy.
Oh no! I will spend
like
a
High School
full day binging Clone Wars if you watch Scott Pilgrim.
I watched
High School Musical.
I'm not watching High School Musical.
Come on!
Scott Pilgrim.
I do have.
You know what? Go ahead, Blake.
I have a question for Jamie. Did you start with the Clone Wars movie?
I didn't.
You didn't?
Okay, Joel,
We're
if
getting
you're
outta
gonna
here.
make up
We're
all
getting
these
outta
rules,
here.
you
We're
gotta
getting
let
outta
me
here.
know.
We're getting outta here.
Watch the series.
Jamie, that is the first thing I told you was to watch the movie, then watch.
No, how do you not watch the movie? Oh my god.
How else are
my
you gonna get
gosh.
exposure to Rada the Hutt?
Blake, what
Come
have you
on.
done? What have
All
you
right,
done?
so we're getting out of here. We're getting out of here because my stress level is becoming grief.
Yeah, my blood pressure's going too high right now. I can't do this.
I want to
Scott
thank.
Pilgrim.
I want to thank Mike. I want to thank Tristan.
Watch High School
I want to
Musical.
thank Joelle. I want to thank Tia. I want to thank Didge, Trevon, Jayla, Jamie, Blake, and Sabrina, and all of you in the comment section. I will never watch High School Musical. I am willing to leverage our friendship on not watching that franchise.
Juwaan!
I'm willing to. That's how strongly I feel
Even
about
World
that.
of Tyler
I
Jackson.
don't
Quick
do
says
shout
watch
out
High
to
School
the chat.
Musical.
World of Tyler
Your
Jackson
audience
said
is
watch
telling
High
you to
School
educate
Musical.
yourself.
I am
That's
willing
do
to
it.
lose you as a subscriber. To
Damn.
not watch that. To not
Tyler
watch
Jackson.
Juwaan!
We gotta end
We
this
watch
already.
High School Musical
I'm
over there.
sorry.
Okay,
I don't
you
do
need to
musicals.
chill.
I don't do musicals. I'm sorry. It'll never happen. It's just.
I'm gonna figure out a way.
Nice.
Nuh-uh, I ain't taking no for an answer for this. No, we're gonna figure out a way for him to watch them.
Nice.
You know what? You know what you could do? This is how I would watch High School Musical. You ready for this? Take all the audio from Hamilton and put it in High School Musical.
Oh
And I'll
my
Wait,
God.
you would watch
Do
You
that.
watch
Hamilton,
Hamilton,
but you
but
wouldn't
not High
watch.
School Musical?
It's literally a musical.
They're rapping. I'll take that.
Oh my
Over
God.
singing.
Juwaan.
Sorry, not happening. But I love you all, and I hope you have a great night. And we will see you all Friday night for GVN Talk. Same time, same place. Till then, peace, and I will never watch High School Musical.
Bye,
Oh, yeah, no, we're
guys.
gonna make